completely taking advantage of what he did. They just go, well, we have this. We should use it, I guess.
Radio is so weird, and it's like the Golic and Wingo situation, like the way they just cut you loose. I mean, at least him they're letting actually come back on the air till the 31st, which is surprising. Usually in radio, when you're done, you're absolutely done. But at least with him, they're saying, hey, you can finish out the, I guess, the month. But I wonder why. I'm dying to know why what happened with that show. Is it not getting ratings, or was it they hate each other? Because I think he pitched bringing back Mike and Mike, and the station didn't go for it. Or maybe Mike Greenberg
They're like,
didn't
fuck that.
Yeah,
I like
weird.
your theory about him being difficult. It sounds like he's the common denominator, right?
Yeah, and it seems like, especially if he says, hey, I'd like to bring back Mike and Mike, and they go, no. Like, or maybe the other guy said, no, I'll come back, and he's doing a later time slot. He's not doing it with him. He's got to be difficult. And then reading that guy Wingo wanted to leave as well. I was like, maybe there's something to it. Maybe they fought a lot off there. Who knows? I never listened to the show, even with Mike and Mike or his new one, so I don't know anything about him.
That is radio, though, that you just kind of change everything. Like, okay, tomorrow we're just changing everything and it's all over. But I think radio is just, they know that people's habits are, you listen to this every day. So while, yes, it'll be jarring, within a week or two, you'll be used to the new thing. Because it's not like we have to convince you to tune in once a week. It's like, this is what's on every morning now. So that voice that you got used to over the last 20 years, yeah, we don't do that anymore. Now it's this voice. And the first day, you're like, what the hell? And the second day, you're like, this isn't my show. And by like the fourth day, you're like, oh, all right, I guess this is what we do now. And you just move on with your life. It's disposable. Yeah. Radio's very disposable.
It was like after Imus left, Boomer and I think Carton took over. And look, it wound up working. I mean, the show I don't know if they did the same ratings or maybe better. I don't know what they did, but they did well. And then Carton gets in trouble, goes to jail, and he's out now, by the way. And then it becomes Boomer and Geo, and I think they're doing okay. Right. So it's people are just listening to what they're listening to. I wonder if Craig Carton, because I like Craig, he wants to come back and work, and I wonder if they hire him back or if they just can't after that.
I would think that they would at least have to give him time, for everything to cool out. He's not like such an old guy, so he could sit out if he's got money. I don't know if he's got any money left after all the legal stuff.
How long did he go for? Like a year? Or a little over
about a year. Yeah, a year or so in jail. I mean, look, he's probably got a year worth of great stories to tell. I'd be interested if they were like, he's coming back. I'm like, I want to know what happened to him in jail for a year. Who knows? If he was in a New York jail, which I think he was, maybe there's a bunch of radio fans in there. Maybe he was a god in jail.
No, he's not recognizable enough. They might have known some of his voice, but he's a funny guy, so that probably helped. And it's probably I'm guessing it wasn't Rikers Island for a year. He did. Yeah, it was a 1 year to 3.5 year deal.
Think about how exciting that would be, though. You're stuck in jail. It's not like you're interacting with any kind of celebrity on a day-to-day basis. All of a sudden, this guy that you listen to on the radio is in jail with you. Yeah. I wouldn't be mad at that guy. I'd be like, yeah, I want to talk to this guy. It'd be like listening to a radio show again. It's exciting.
Yeah, they said he could be back on in October. But I don't know how well. Boomer and Geo might be doing great. Like they might get along and just be like, nah, this is the show. Like, I don't know much about the show. Yeah, but
would he be replacing Geo or would he just do his own show?
He might just do his own show.
Oh, yeah. You know what's so stupid? I'm immediately assuming that he'd go back with that show. Yeah, maybe he would just do his own show. Right.
Because it would also not be the best look for station management. Although, again, it's radio. So, eventually, at first, people would be like, what? And then nobody would care. But it wouldn't be the best look if Geo was sitting there going like, I thought we were doing something here. And they were like, yeah, but Carton's out now. Yeah, but Carton's the name. Carton's the show that we do.
Yeah, I would love to know if the ratings have held up. Like,
I think they're still good. I don't know if they're exactly the same, but I don't think that they're in the toilet or anything like that.
Yeah, don't know. I do not know, but I'd be interested to see it because I think he's pretty good on the radio. And I know that the afternoon drive spot is currently occupied by Evan Roberts and Joe Beningo, who I really love. I know, I love Beningo. I've never met him, but I really do enjoy him.
I mean, Carton better act quick. They got to scoop up these radio gigs while they're still there. I can't imagine any kind of big radio contracts are going to go for any sort of amount of time in this environment. Not like in a COVID environment. I just mean in 2020. Like, who would have thought that you could still get a radio job in 2020 as it is? I feel like everything's on borrowed time.
Sports radio, though. Sports radio and certain political talk radio, there's always going to be a market for that stuff. And those guys always people listen to them in the car. I remember going to the post office one time, and just listening to the guys. We're listening to Mike and the Mad Dog. And I remember thinking that's why these guys are so big, because you can listen to them anywhere. Like, you can just work and no one's going to object to two guys talking local sports. Like, it's not something that people are going to get offended by. The people working there kind of interested by it. So, like, those guys will always work.
Yeah, but podcasts are even sweeping that up. And the problem is that people don't grow up with radio anymore.
That's true.
So it's like, you can listen to podcasts anywhere. You can listen to Sirius anywhere. It's all becoming the stuff you can do anywhere. And really, I mean, if you're going to go into a store, for example, you might still go in and see somebody with their radio on, but odds are they got their phone plugged in and they're listening to something there,
Yeah.
So
people do like sports radio though, because it's live. Like you can do a podcast that's sports radio, but like caller driven, timely. Let's talk about last night's game radio. That's still super popular.
Not like it was.
No, but it's still. I'm sure it still makes enough money
to stay alive.
Yeah,
but we're not seeing any more Mike and the Mad Dog deals.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, nobody's becoming a household name being on the radio. Like, even these big shows, like Boomer and Carton was a big show, and Mike was a big show, and all these shows, like, them, but they're not iconic. They're just the big show now.
But that time's over.
That's over. Yeah.
You think so for the giant sports shows?
I just think for a giant radio personality, I think that's over.
Unless you can, I mean, the only way to make any money now is to be syndicated everywhere. Like, if you can figure out a deal where and again, you're not the icon that you once were, but if you can get yourself on 150 stations, then you can probably make some good money.
Yeah, Bob and Tom's show, even though one of them is retired, but that show, the franchise is still on and still doing pretty well. Most shows you go from market to market, and it's a great show in each market. Like, you'll find, like, if it's going to be Toucher and Rich, or it's going to be Preston and Steve. Like, a lot of markets have like that one show that's still really fun to do, but some markets don't even have that anymore. Like, and those guys a lot of times are not syndicated. Like Calta in Tampa is great. Like, that's a great show for comedians to do.
Great show.
It's funny. He's really good on the radio. He knows how to work with comics. Like, there are some shows that are just the only thing in the market anymore, and the rest of them have just dried up. And most of them are not syndicated.
Yeah, and you don't see anything that hasn't been around for 20 years. Like, there's no new shows. They're kind of peeking out. Like, think about how long that goofball John Montone has been on 10-10 wins. It's ridiculous. Like, move aside, old man. Am I right, Mikey? Move
You'd
aside.
think they would have taken the microphone away from him by now. I certainly would if I was running Intercom.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, it's super interesting, but it's just I don't know that new people are as attracted to that medium as they were anymore, because there's just more eyes and ears elsewhere now.
Yeah, and it's too slow moving. It's too like you can't jump around. Like you're fucking bouncing from point to point to looking at different stuff. And I don't know. Yeah, radio is not. You're right. It's probably not going to be no more giant radio stars. Again, conservative talk show people, I still think have quite a few years left, because people who listen to those guys get older with them. Like, younger people don't listen to fucking Rush or like Mike Savage or any of those guys. But, you get older. If you're listening to them now, you'll be listening to them for the next 20 years.
Right. So they'll have that wave to go out on 100%. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's also like the idea of being a star in one market. Like, the internet has ended that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, who you wouldn't sit there and go like, oh, like the idea of telling somebody who's under 30 Like, oh, you can be really big in this one town. And I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, how many Twitter followers do I have? Everything's global.
Art Bell was the guy. Like I've said this before. When we got kicked off the air, I would ride around for hours at night just listening to Art Bell. And he was what a fucking amazing radio guy. Like he would do phoners with Michio Kaku, and they probably had some kind of an ISDN set up, but he would keep you on the hook for 4 hours and sometimes get to nothing. Sometimes he would get to it, but other times it was just a tease, and he knew how to lead you on, and he knew how to keep you, the next break is when it's going to happen. The next break, and they would just give you a little bit each time. He was so fucking good. And I wish he was alive to see these UFOs. The footage that's been released by the Pentagon or verified. I wish Art Bell was alive to see that because he would really love that.
Oh my God, the shows that he would have because of that?
Yeah.
I've been trying to tell you guys for all these years. Yeah. Forget it. That would be his shit.
I know.
I mean,
did you ever listen to him? He was really
of course. Good. He was great.
He was.
But I also wonder. Guy. I mean, I wonder when you do that for so long, and like you said, you just perfect the art of the tease. How much of it do you even believe at the end of it? And how much are you just, okay, I know exactly what the formula is here. I know how to do this. Like, you get to this place where you just know how to have a 4-hour phone conversation with somebody, and you're just going through the motions.
I guess, yeah.
Maybe, I don't know.
Very possible, yeah. That's very possible. I know I'm looking up Richard C. Hoagland. He was the guy who believed in the face on Mars. He was a big guy. Yeah, Richard C. Hoagland would talk a lot about Mars, and he thought that there was some kind of alien manipulation or building on Mars. And he would have these regular guests. I always hated shadow people. I never liked listening about shadow people. To me, they were just, somebody remembered being molested. That's what a shadow person was. Did the shadow person have stubble? Like, I never liked listening about stupid shadow people.
Well, Art Bell was so great because he never asked you to prove it. Like, he was never like he wasn't even skeptical of the stuff you were saying. He was just like, shadow people, you say, huh? And then he would let you just give your whole theory. Yeah, and this and this. And Art Bell was like, oh man, that's really something. And then he would just ask the questions and just let you and completely let the audience decide whether this guy was a lunatic, whether they believed him. And you'd have, you'd be, depending on who you are listening to the show, you could have two people listening to the same show. And one of them's going, oh, finally, somebody's talking about shadow people. Finally, this is what I've been waiting for. This is, I know all about this. This guy makes perfect sense. And then another person is listening to the same show going, this guy's a total lunatic. What are you talking about, shadow people? And you never knew what side Art Bell was on. He was just there as the vehicle for these people to drive.
He was, and you're right. He didn't judge or he didn't try to disprove. The only time I saw him get mad at anybody or get really mad was the amazing Kreskin. He got mad at Kreskin because Kreskin was doing something about telling everybody to do something at a certain time, and it was wrong. And then he admitted he was just trying to get a rise or something to that effect. Art Bell said he didn't like people fucking with his audience like that. Like, don't do that. Like, don't tell my audience to do something because you're fucking with them. And I think that they had a falling out because of that. But that's the only person I ever saw him get annoyed at.
Right. And that's because he's trying to protect the business. He's he can't, like the whole Art Bell thing was his audience was so loyal to him. Like, you'd have that audience because it's also, it's such a good business plan. It was who else is up all night? Like, nobody's doing shows. There are people awake that just aren't sleeping. And back then it was like you turn on the radio because it was, somebody's awake with me. And that's just what would keep you company as you're going through your insomnia.
And I wonder what time he would go. I don't know, because again, I was up all night, and this was back in the tough crowd days, where I would be up, just fucking riding around looking at prostitutes all night, just riding. Sometimes I wouldn't get them. 70% of the time, 80%, I wouldn't even get anybody. I would just look. I would just ride around and look, and it was like my ritual. And
just window shopping?
Just looking, yeah. It was just the ritual of just not being home, not thinking about, having no radio, just looking and listening to the radio show. And I would spend hours listening to Art Bell. And I don't remember the time it was on. I think it would be gone to like 4 o'clock in the morning or something.
1 to 5.
I was going to
1 to 5.
1 to 5. I was going to say 12 to 4, but 1 to 5. So it would be the lead in.
He was for the third
whatever
shifters.
The morning show was. Oh, yeah, that's how bad things got. Okay.
10 to 2.
All right. That's how bad overnight radio got. After Art Bell left, who are you left with? John and Jeff.
Cream always rises.
John and Jeff. But again, dude, that's what, dude, I want to get old and just do radio at 3:00 in the morning. It would be the fucking best thing ever because there's no pressure to do anything. You will just listen. I remember driving to K-Rock in the morning because K-Rock was when we had to be there like super early. I think Travis and I would get to K-Rock at like 4:30 in the morning. Like that's when we get to work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I remember driving to the city at like 3:30 or whatever and just sitting there for 40 minutes, the entire drive in, maybe less than that, but whatever, listening to John and Jeff and how it's just terrible. It's the worst radio show you'd ever heard. They'd spend their entire time. It's horrible. Talking about nothing. Nothing. Like it's actually, I've fallen into this kick. Like I go on YouTube and I start to get obsessed with little like YouTube minutia because there are all these, you know, little groups on YouTube and people who make these documentaries and everything. And I've been following what's his name, Chris Hansen's post Catch a Predator career, and like, you know, watching what he did on YouTube and how he completely just destroyed the audience that he had built, and it's so interesting. But I cannot watch those old NBC To Catch a Predators without thinking that John and Jeff, dude, they would come on the air and they would literally spend 3 weeks playing Catch a Predator clips. The stuff that we would do in a segment, like NBC would put on To Catch a Predator, and every radio show was playing the clips. We played the clips. I played the clips on my college radio show when that show was on. But John and Jeff, they must have taken every piece of audio from that show. Because Travis, you remember, they would literally spend 3 weeks going person by person on the show, and it would take them that long to play the clips from one episode of To Catch a Predator. Yeah. And they wouldn't even say anything about it.
They would take crazy stances too, right? Like, yeah, we're 2 guys that believe you shouldn't rape a child. Whoa, those guys don't play games. They would always take these stances that anybody would take, that was the funny part, was everything they said was like, yeah, well, no shit. We're 2 guys who believe you shouldn't punch a woman in the tits. That's very, very, very maverick of you.
We're 2 guys who believe if you pull a shopping cart out, you should put it back where you found it. And you're like, I don't even know. It's like these takes that you can't get behind, but you can't go against. It's the essence of nothing. There's nothing here.
There was never like a moment where you got revved up for it. It was like, yeah.
No.
That was the reaction to those things. Well, yeah, we're 2 guys that believe we shouldn't scratch a person's car without telling. Oh, yeah, all right, fine. None of it meant anything. None of it hit you on any level. It was just there.
No. It's not disagreeable, but it's also not anything you would think about. It's just kind of base logic. It's one of those.
The show should have been called John and Jeff Tap Water. That's what it should have been called. It was like tap water, not objectionable. Does quench the thirst. Certainly not your beverage of preference.
Yeah, but one of them loved going to Thailand.
I remember
one
that.
One of them did love going to Thailand. Yeah. And he loved playing Catch a Predator clips and going to Thailand.
Yeah, that probably wasn't trying to hide something else.
No, he's played To Catch a Predator clips going, how stupid do you have to be? I mean, it's so easy. What?
Yeah, like
nothing?
Those politicians that like hate gay rights and then get caught.
Oh, I love when those guys. Yeah. I never like to out people, but I love when those guys get caught with a big hog in their lip, like fucking
we call
tucked between their lip and cheek, like a plug of tobacco. I love it.
we call them wide stancers.
They're wide. Yeah, Larry Craig. Yeah, they're the worst, those guys. And then they have to come out and apologize or talk to or take time to be with their family. You don't want to be with your family. You don't. You want to be fucking mouth first around a hole in a rest area. You want to be eyeball peeping through a fucking hole in a urinal. Come on.
Yeah, you especially don't want to be around your family when they got all these questions for you now.
No. What happened? What were you doing? I think John and Jeff broke up.
Yeah, I'm actually looking up what happened to John and Jeff.
Yeah,
man,
I for a while.
That show, it was so perfect because I guess it was the idea that you would either go to sleep listening to it or you would go to sleep right after listening to it. And it was this
while
thing
listening
where,
to it.
Yeah, while listening to it. Like you would listen to it and you wouldn't object to anything. But after you were done listening, you certainly would never go up to a person and go, hey, you know what I heard on John and Jeff? Never.
Yeah.
Opie used to go into the bathroom because he said that the show would be on because it came on before us on K-Rock, and he would tell us that it made it easier for him to move his bowels when the show was on.
Yeah.
Which I always thought was funny.
I do remember hearing them. We would come in, and it was just never great. It was just never great.
Horrible. It was horrible. You'd be like, what? You could just do this? You can just do this? Sounds great.
99 to 2012. I think those guys were together. It's a 13-year run. It's not bad. It seems like a short run in the past, like you're looking in the past, but 13 years is pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
No official reason was ever given for their ending.
No, and unfortunately, I can't find a bio of them where the last paragraph doesn't have something to do with Opie and Anthony and Jim Norton.
Oh, no, does it?
Yeah. The John and Jeff show was ridiculed almost daily by the very popular Opie and Anthony show. Let's see. I believe you got a mention in here. Yes.
Oh, good.
The audio snippets are actually taken from a show where Opie, Anthony, and Jim Norton blasted the program for being too nice and the exact opposite of what they are doing.
Wow.
John and Jeff tend to avoid talking about other talk show hosts on their own show. Hey, don't talk about the competition.
Yeah.
If you're John and Jeff going like, oh, we don't want to talk about other shows. Like, do you think people are listening to John and Jeff because it's like, well, I don't know of any other radio show that exists, so I'll listen to this. But if you can find any other show, I will stop listening. No, don't mention any other shows. Don't let them know there's other shows out there.
They were a nice radio show. Like, if I remember correctly, they were just nice. Like, they weren't.
They were very nice.
Dicks. They weren't.
No.
I mean, I guess they could be if they wanted to be, but from what I remember, they just talked about nice. Like you see, the shopping cart was a good example. That was, we're two guys that like to, and it was like, ugh, it's never anything that I wouldn't think of. Like, we're two guys that don't take a cup out without putting it back. Well, yeah, that's terrific.
Okay.
I mean,
all right.
Yeah.
John had less of a chin than you. Jesus.
That's not very,
John
that's not very
no
helpful
chin at all.
That's not a helpful statement.
I mean,
John went forehead to neck with only an interruption for his nose.
Let me see his face.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Not a good side profile.
No,
there's
every time
only
you do
a side profile.
Be like Beaker from the Muppets.
Oh boy. He's
every
the first
time you
guy,
do the
right?
weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the
every
one.
time you do the we're two guys impression, you have to kind of like tuck your face back into your neck like Vincent D'Onofrio in Men in Black.
I mean, he's
We're two guys who watch Sugar Water.
He's the one that goes to Thailand, and you're not surprised. They're like, oh yeah,
Well,
if
he
I had to pick one of the two, it would be him.
I can't even find him.
Can't find John and Jeff?
No, him alone. I found the one bio picture.
Well, Travis, all he had to do was look up his bookmarks.
Yeah.
His
Just
favorites.
I go into my photos.
Oh, yeah. Third shift, 11 p.m. to 3 a.m. Wow.
That's
awesome.
awesome.
That's 8 to 12 in California, which is not that bad, I guess.
Very good, Jim.
Yeah, I always go backwards. Art Bell was 10 to 1. Let me get some coffee.
Yeah. Yeah, what
I'll
an
tell you.
awesome shift that would be. Just because, like, you don't have to wake up in the morning.
Well, it's an awesome shift for somebody like Art Bell, who's like made it and is now just like there.
Coasting.
Yeah, it's
Right.
not an awesome shift for someone who's trying to make it and then just quits.
Well, yeah. Because
or the show ends. So who knows? There's no official reason given.
No.
I believe that the radio stations that they were on all together at once, they had some kind of group meeting where all the syndicators came together and they all realized that none of them were paying John and Jeff.
Wait, they're
I
on?
thought you were paying them. No. We haven't been paying them. I thought you've been paying. No. So they basically did like the Milton thing. They just corrected.
I was going to say, it's like
So
when
you-
the Bobs realized Milton's getting a paycheck.
Yeah. We're not going to cancel John and Jeff, are we? No. We're going to correct the mistake.
Yeah, we're just going to stop paying
We're just gonna correct it. Yeah. Oh man.
Oh, fun times.
Speaking of correcting the mistake, and we look forward while still thinking about our past. I think it's official. After this article came out in the Post yesterday, Sacha Baron Cohen is hard at work for our amusement. Did you hear what he did next, Jim?
I did not.
He got Rudy Giuliani to call the police on him on accident. So,
Really?
Yep. So Sacha Baron Cohen he was in New York. Unbeknownst to us, he was here in New York. And Rudy, he got a phone call to do an offer. He thought it was a serious interview about the Trump administration's response to COVID. He said he was offered payment for the interview, and he was asked that the money be donated to the Stephen Siller Tunnel to Towers Foundation. I don't know what that is, but I'm assuming it's something to do with the towers, 9/11. I don't know.
Tunnel to Towers, yeah. I'm guessing it's got something to do with people who got sick
Maybe.
on 9/11. That's what that sounds like.
Maybe. So Giuliani says, okay, I'll do it. You got me. They booked him. He says a female interviewer began the conversation in a room fitted out with professional setup of lights and camera. You know, it really looked like a TV deal. The female threw a few softball questions out before, as Giuliani says, this is a quote from Rudy Giuliani. This guy comes running in wearing a crazy, what I would say was a pink transgender outfit. He says it was a pink bikini with lace underneath, a translucent mesh top. It looked absurd. He had the beard, bare legs, and wasn't what I would call distractingly attractive. He said, this person comes in yelling and screaming, and I thought this must be a scam or a shakedown. So I reported it to the police. He then ran away. This is the best part. Other sources said that Cohen was seen sprinting out of the Upper East Side Hotel, the Mark Hotel on the Upper East Side. They said that he was seen sprinting out of the hotel down 77th Street wearing just a bathrobe, but was not apprehended by the police, who did arrive on the scene. The NYPD did not comment.
That's so bizarre.
Giuliani.
Doesn't he have security with him, Rudy? He's the president's lawyer.
That somebody could just get in a quote-unquote transgender outfit? I've never heard that phrase.
Well, I assume he was like in the back already.
Yeah, but you would think, Jim's right, you would think that they would check the rooms or something, but maybe
he probably wasn't
maybe only
yet.
But you know what? I mean, Don Jr. is the president's son, and if we had a person in a transgender outfit under the table when he was in, no security checked for that.
No, you're right.
No, they wait outside when he comes in. I mean, when he's come in,
Right.
they've stood outside.
So maybe next time, once we're back in studio, we sneak somebody.
And
I mean, I don't know where we would find a transgender outfit for somebody, but maybe we get
help.
Mike Montone. We get Mike Montone to suit up, and he hides under the table and just jumps out.
I mean, also, let's not overestimate, what Rudy Giuliani, brings with him or does. This is the guy who just calls reporters and butt dials them, and he did on accident. Locks
butt
himself
dial.
out of his iPhone.
He's
not the smartest guy.
Yeah.
He went to the Genius Bar because he locked himself out of his iPhone. Yeah.
And had to hand his phone over. He's talking to the president. Unless he has, isn't there somebody in the government who can fix that for him?
They probably don't take his calls.
I wouldn't think so. No, it's probably like, Rudy's calling. Let's let it go to voicemail. Yeah, I keep texting my people that I work with in government, and I'm getting text back from them that says error 404. I think there's something wrong with my phone. No, Rudy. Nope, they're fucking with you, buddy.
Oh, I'm so glad he's back.
Yeah, oh my God,
that?
Giuliani.
Where was he?
No, Sasha.
Who?
Oh,
Sasha?
okay.
Yeah,
I think
Sacha Baron
Rudy's
Cohen. Oh no, Rudy's been around. Rudy's been calling up CNN, letting them know what they plan. Like, Rudy's great. Giuliani said, I only later realized it must have been Sacha Baron Cohen. I thought about all the people he previously fooled, and I felt good about myself because he didn't get me. I mean, that's a lie. He did get. You can't call the police on a prank interviewer and then go,
Right.
You didn't get me. Yes, you did. You panicked and called the police because a man in a bikini ran out. Like, he definitely got you.
He physically
It's fine. He would have
called the
gotten me
police.
too.
He called the
Rudy
police.
called the police. Yeah. Yeah, Rudy called the police, which I think is the mark of being got.
Yeah, I think so, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the police are sitting here. They got enough to worry about right now. They don't need calls from the former America's mayor. Can you imagine going from being America's mayor to sitting in your city and calling the police because Sacha Baron Cohen jumped out from under a table in a bikini?
Well,
Yeah,
he
it's kinda-
runs
Man.
down 77th Street in a bathrobe.
Why did he run down 77th Street? For the show or just to get the fuck out of there?
Yeah, probably to get out of there.
Yeah, to avoid the police.
The next paragraph
You
is
didn't
my
want to-
favorite.
He doesn't want to get locked up. I mean, it's so great. However, the former New York City mayor added, I am a fan of some of his movies, Borat in particular, because I've been to Kazakhstan. And then Giuliani is quoted here, and I'll just read the description. Adopting a Borat accent, Giuliani repeats a famous line from the movie. She is my sister. She is number 4 prostitute in all of Kazakhstan. That was pretty funny. You like that part.
Good for Rudy.
Don't you want to hear Rudy's Borat impression?
Yeah.
About number 4 prostitute in Kazakhstan.
Yeah. Yeah, I do.
I mean, that is the way to handle it. You know, I mean, you can't sit there and say you didn't get got because you got. But it is the way to handle it, to be like, you know what? Sacha Baron Cohen is hilarious. Like the people who go out and start going, well, this is what's wrong with it. It's like, come on, relax.
You
dude.
going to pretend Borat's not hilarious?
It's always hilarious when you run around naked with that other big
Naked
fat
fight.
guy running through the hotel. And it's for real, for real. It's great.
God damn.
I didn't love the movie because again, I felt like it was great. It was funny, but I always liked the one where there was no script. Like where it was only people who didn't have, and I understand why he had to do that, but I liked the scenes that were shot that had no script to them.
Yeah, those are the best parts. Like,
But I
They're-
didn't like
they're
when there was the stuff that was scripted. I guess they
I don't
had to
need a
do that for
story.
storyline.
Yeah,
But they had to do that. But
Yeah.
it was still wasn't
Yeah,
a
that's
bad
one of
movie.
those
I just
things-
Didn't love it.
Yeah, where you watch and you almost like. I mean, it's like that Action Park Johnny Knoxville movie. Like it was a terrible movie, but it was funny to watch him hurt himself.
that's how I
You know,
felt
it was
about
funny
like
to watch him
the
do the
Impractical
Jackass
Jokers
stunts.
movie.
Yeah, I didn't watch it because I was like, I realized that I was like, oh, it's $20. Maybe I'll rent it tonight. And then I was like, or I'll just turn on True TV and watch 5
Yeah,
hours. of
like the
episodes.
challenges are great. Love the challenges. Hilarious. The plot I can do without. Just like I could do without
Yeah.
the plot in Borat.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
But
Let them
the
learn
movie
how to,
is
you know,
where
dine
the movie
professionally.
is that's it. Dining professionally is it's the best scene in the movie. He goes to the bathroom and then he comes back with a bag of his own shit.
That was very funny.
I mean, and then he's trying to convince these people, no, he's foreign. So, you know, that's just his culture.
Yeah, that was funny. Shit into a bag. Yeah, that was funny. That was really funny.
So far we've got Sacha Baron Cohen screwing up that 3%ers rally in Washington. And now we've got him attempting to interview Giuliani in a pink bikini. Although, who knows? It sounds like, because it sounds like the Giuliani called the police right away and he had to leave. So maybe this won't even make the episodes. I'm assuming this is Who is America 2.
I mean,
Yeah.
what else is it going to be?
Unless it's some kind of movie he's doing or something.
It has all the makings of just Who is America.
Because
Yeah.
it's political.
Yeah.
Different sketches and different locations and different people. Get in, get out, get what you can.
But not all of it was political. I mean, he had OJ.
Yeah.
Like, who knows what's been filmed that, you know, you don't even know about?
Exactly.
It's not like
Yeah,
he's 0 for 2 here.
Oh my God, no. And it's not even like you're sitting there going like, oh, he's starting up filming. Like
Right.
he could be finishing.
Yeah, this could be like, okay, cool. We got Giuliani and then we're done.
Yeah. That's what oh, you got sources?
I'll find out. I'll check.
Yeah, I love and it adds to it so much that now, like you never knew before the show would just come on, but it started with Who is America. And now we're getting it just because information is so gettable now and he's so famous.
Yeah.
Then now this is all teasers. Like you don't even have to put out a press release anymore. The articles will just start coming out as you get caught, doing your skits and stuff. But I can't wait, man. I
Yeah.
can't wait.
I had a prank show that the network said no to. They didn't think my pranks were good.
Oh no.
Yeah.
No. What was the show?
I took stevia. I took it out of the package and I put Equal in the package, and I just sat back and filmed.
I mean, I can't imagine there was any reaction whatsoever.
No, you have to film for hours before somebody finally sits there and takes. I would put like 6 packages deep. I'd be like, there's only a couple more to go.
You mixed it right in the middle there.
Yeah. No,
Yeah. Yeah, it's like the Breaking Bad prank, except instead of ricin, you're just putting Equal in the stevia.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You're goddamn right it is.
Hey, how come you're not in Fight Island this weekend? I got because I'm so excited. You know, I've been excited about Fight Island from the beginning.
Yeah.
And then I start looking at all the people that are going. Matt
Sarah's
Sarah's Fight
there.
Island.
I know.
Yeah,
I talked to him yesterday.
He got to go on a plane with Dana.
I remember the episode because we taped yesterday. The Phoenix Carnival sat in for him, and Matt was on a plane the night before. Monday night we talked, and he was worried that he was going to get stuck in coach for like 16 hours, but he flew over there with a bunch of fighters. They chartered planes and flew over. Yeah, he said it's great. He said it's nice. I haven't talked to him on the phone. We've just kind of texted back and forth, but he's there and he's safe. And fuck, I would love to go. I would love to go to Fight Island.
Yeah, it seems amazing. It's in Abu Dhabi. It's I saw people did point out. I saw that the outside octagon that's on the beach, but you forget too. It's like 100 degrees there. So
Yeah,
I can't
for
imagine
working out. It's
very
not pleasant
even to work out in. Yeah,
it's one of those things too.
But,
this is how smart Dana is, because now that the cases are spiking, the border's still closed. Yeah. It's gonna. When you heard July, you're like, things will be better by then. That's going to be very, very viable until the end of the year at least. Even if things open up, people still won't mind going there under these conditions and fighting. It's going to be a long time before there's full crowd fights again.
And global travel. Global travel is going to take a while, because it's one thing if America snaps back, but to have people flying in from other countries is going to be tough. So, but he's got to be able to keep people there for a while, right? I mean, people get on and they don't go off. It's not like they go back and forth.
Well, no, you can go off. You get tested. The way it works is you come to Vegas.
Okay.
You get tested, and then before you leave, obviously there's a test you take or 2 tests you take, and then you get on a chartered plane the next day or whatever. But you do go through tests before you go. And there was a fight there, co-main event, I think, was canceled because one of the fighters tested, and a lot of guys from Florida have tested positive.
What do they do if it's like how far in advance do they fly over?
I think they flew over Monday night there's an event this Saturday, the 11th, and then there's one, I think it's the 15th on a Wednesday. And that one on the Wednesday, they were flying over for Monday. So a little over a week, maybe 9 days. So the guys who are fighting this Saturday were already there, because they have to, it's like 8 o'clock in the morning their fight is, because they're fighting on U.S. time.
Yes, they got to go a week and a half in advance so they can they can change up their sleep schedule and stuff.
It's crazy. Yeah, crazy. We are fighting now.
Wow, so they're going to just have to, they're going to have to learn how to wake up at just like wake up at 8 p.m. Just be on the opposite schedule. Just wake up at night so they can be comfortable fighting at 8 a.m. in the morning. That's crazy.
8 a.m. has got to feel like 8 p.m. or 12, because usually main event guys fight close to midnight. That's what time they're normally fighting, because or 9 o'clock if you're in Vegas. But those guys normally fight in the middle, kind of early evening anyway. So they got to make 8 o'clock in the morning feel like fucking 9 o'clock at night.
But so does that mean if somebody tests and they have to, will they just cancel a fight, or will they find another opponent? Because wouldn't they have to find another opponent within like 10 days of a fight? That seems difficult.
They did for the main event Saturday. It was supposed to be Gilbert Burns, and he tested positive, so they have Jorge Masvidal fighting for the welterweight belt. And that just got
added I think
6 days in advance or 10 days in advance. He said yes, 6 days in advance. Masvidal is taking the fight. Yeah, but they have it all the time, though. They have guys get hurt all the time, or guys that will occasionally miss weight, or guys that will get injured 4 days before.
That's crazy to take a fight with that kind of, because you think like you train months for a fight.
Yeah, but he was in shape. He had talked about fighting Usman for the belt, and then it didn't happen. The contract didn't happen, so I'm assuming he was smart enough to just stay in shape. And
yeah, wow. I'll bet because of what's going on, there'll be a lot of fighters that just keep themselves in shape because it seems like a lot of opportunities are going to be open up as positive results come in.
100%. And guys will fight sooner than they normally would have. Guys will fight like the one, like instead of fighting like, say 4 months later, you guys are fighting 2 months later because it's just, again, there's not as many guys available for travel.
Yeah. It's got to be nice down there and they don't have to worry about COVID at all because they've controlled the population of the island. Like there's nobody there that they don't know about. Yeah.
And it wouldn't be, I would say it would be fun, but it would be fun to go there, but it wouldn't be because it's not like the interaction is probably so minimal and they're only letting certain guys around these people. You're not going to get the type of access you would have gotten. It's not the type of hang it would have been. Everyone's, unless you're on the island. Maybe once you're on the island. But again, even there, they still have to test you again, I'm sure. So I think even there, you probably cut down on your interaction to be safe.
Maybe.
Yeah, but it's happening this Saturday. The pay-per-view is a fucking amazing card. Yeah,
that's amazing. I got so annoyed because yesterday, of all days, like after the show, yesterday afternoon, I see a trailer comes out they're doing an action park documentary for HBO.
Really?
And the trailer came out yesterday afternoon that I saw, unless I had missed it or something. But I don't think I missed it.
Like I heard it.
Yeah. They're doing a documentary called Class Action Park, and it just tells the story of Action Park. But I'm literally 2 hours after our interview with the guy. This thing is announced, and I'm like, you couldn't have announced it yesterday. You couldn't have announced it the day before, so we could ask him what he thinks.
Was he involved in it though?
But yeah, I didn't see him when I watched the trailer, and I didn't hear his voice on it at all. So I'm assuming not. But I don't know because, and I guess it's called Class Action Park, which means it's not Action Park, which means they don't have to get permission to use that in the title, even if they did. They probably wouldn't anyway, but.
You know what it is? This is probably why his book is being released now. He probably got wind of this documentary a while ago and always talked about writing a book and figured, fuck, I better tell this story before anybody else does. And maybe he timed it with this so people would think it was connected, or I don't know. I doubt it's a coincidence.
Yeah, it couldn't be, right? It couldn't be. These waves kind of like somebody gets it started. I'm sure he knew it was happening.
Oh, yeah.
You don't get surprised with the teaser trailer when somebody puts a documentary out about your family's life work.
Right. Because they ask you to comment, I'm sure. I'm sure they say, hey, will you be a part of it? Will you talk to us?
Or, will you be a part of it? Or they go to your friends and they go like, your friends go, they're making this documentary about your dad's thing?
Yeah.
But I can't.
I'll do a book real quick. I'll do a book.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it, man. People's stories about Action Park. That's why we had him on yesterday. Andy Mulvihill. People's stories about it are just so interesting to me. I got into a loop because there's this YouTube channel called Defunct Land, and it's all like theme park stories, like 20-minute documentaries about stuff at theme parks that did not work. And
I could spend all day on that page.
Dude, and I know, and I've done it before.
It's incredible.
I just hadn't. It's so good. I just hadn't been back in a couple of years, probably. And so before the interview yesterday, I had watched the Defunct Land on Action Park. And then all day yesterday after the interview, I was sitting there watching different Defunct Lands and watching poor Michael Eisner trying to make something out of Disney. Trying to make something. He just kept misstepping. Poor Michael Eisner.
Michael Eisner's the best.
He's the greatest, but he made a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, but he did a lot of good.
He did. He pulled Disney out.
Yeah.
Disney was in bad shape when Michael Eisner took over, and he did, he struck out a few times, but eventually he got back.
Yeah, he did. His reputation at Disney is very good. People don't look at Michael Eisner as a shitty CEO.
No.
Something going on over there, Jim?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No.
I thought I heard something before when Sam.
A little mishap. It's all good.
That was
what was the mishap?
Just a thing of the past. The chair rumbled.
Are you sure it wasn't?
Sure.
Is it a furniture issue?
100%. 100% sure.
Okay. That cloud, the virtual cloud that's behind you, is the only cloud that's coming up from you?
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so that's what I was doing yesterday, is watching all like the failed amusement park attractions and the stuff that like people had such high hopes for and just didn't work out.
Right.
Like, they were so close to building another Epcot in California.
Yeah,
They were going to call it Westcott. Yeah. They were so close to it. Except
close.
Disney didn't have any money at the time.
There's plans and everything.
Like, yeah, I saw the pictures.
Yeah.
They had all these plans to do it. And they were going to add, but it was going to be like how, how Epcot is like a theme park for giant nerds?
How dare you?
And that's not the term we would have used 5 years ago.
But that's like where dorks go. Like when that's for the big dorks. They were going to try to make it less dorky. Westcott. They were going to add rides in and all
There's
the stuff.
rides at Epcot.
Come on. You're the type of nerd that considers Spaceship Earth a ride.
You don't like Soarin'? Come on, bro.
No, not after I rode the Avatar ride. No, I'm like sitting there going like, oh, this is like the kids' version of Avatar.
Forget the Avatar ride.
You know what ride they should have there? The head in the oven ride. That should be the ride take. Put your head in an oven and you take a nice deep breath.
I agree.
Nice gas up.
You know your theme park is for nerds and has no good rides when the line to get on the one ride with one cool part, Test Track, is 3 hours long. There is no reason that anybody should ever wait 3 hours to go on Test Track, except there's nothing else at that park worth doing.
What is Test Track?
You go on and you're basically testing a car, right? So you go in this car, and originally it was supposed to be educational. They made it way less like you're actually testing a car, and they've added in way more thrills to it. But you're in a car in a factory going through the tests. So you have to go through the extreme cold, then you have to go through the extreme heat, then you have to go through bumps, then you have to go through windy turns, and then the big thrill comes when they go, now we have to test for speed. And they open the gate, and there's this track. It's all indoors, but there's this track that's above Epcot that you go on, and you go like 0 to 70 miles an hour, or probably
That's awesome.
faster than that in 2 seconds. So there's this one moment where it's like you go real fast, and it is super fun. And if you have a fast pass, I would recommend it 10 times out of 10. I love it.
Have you done
But
it,
when
Travis?
Yeah, once or twice.
But when you're looking at people, like it's the type of ride where when I went to Disney and my wife was pregnant at the time, and I didn't realize she couldn't ride on any rides, I was like, you know what? Let me use your fast pass for this too. I better ride twice. Yeah, you got to ride twice.
Let me just slap that magic band on real quick.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, I wear pink. Big deal. Let me on.
I will go in your steed.
Oh, I didn't even
That's right.
know. Yeah, okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
We should break.
So, but there's no reason that should be a 3-hour wait, except that there's nothing else going on in that park.
It's also very cool.
What's very cool?
Test Track. That's why
It's
people
not a
wait for
3-hour wait.
Also
cool.
breaks down a lot. Also, you can't ride it when it's drizzling. So it's got to stop
Right. And does it ever rain in Orlando?
once or twice a day.
A day?
Yep.
Yeah, daily.
An hour.
Yeah. You know how like a lot of amusement parks get full in the middle of the afternoon?
Yeah.
That's the time it rains in Orlando every day when you can't ride the most popular ride.
That's why everybody goes over to Soarin'. That's indoors.
But Westcott was supposed to be like, they're going to add real rides. There's going to be a roller coaster. It's going to be cool. Except then Disney came and they were like, hey, Michael Eisner, we are not exactly liquid right now. We don't have the cash for another theme park. We can't be doing this.
Yeah, then they made California Adventure on a tiny budget and it failed.
Yeah, it failed because they made Superstar Limo.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I was watching last night. I was watching Superstar Limo.
There's a great on that Imagineering story documentary series that's on Disney Plus. They actually, openly talk about how, how many missteps they made and how it was their fault and how, the Imagineers couldn't do shit because the budget was so low, and like they were actually very honestly negative on the whole thing, which was nice.
Which is
because
wild.
It's Disney.
We got to
wild.
break. We have a guest calling in 8 minutes. We should break. I didn't realize that until you just said that, Travis. We have to.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah, okay. We'll take a break. We got Roger Stone calling in.
And I didn't see that thing last night. I didn't even realize we had him until you just said. I didn't see your message last night, so I didn't realize we had him.
Yeah. We got him. We got him. We got a busy show today. We got a lot of people to talk to. So we'll take a break. We got Roger Stone. And technically he will owe us a phone call after this, too, from jail, because he's supposed to report to jail on Tuesday. This does not count.
He might.
So maybe a week from today?
Yeah. This doesn't count as his one. But we'll talk to him about it.
Yes. 8 o'clock.
Stick around. We'll be right back. Welcome back.
Yes.
Jim Norton and Sam Roberts. We're going to be joined by Mike Cannon in a little bit, but first we're expecting
Roger Stone.
Yeah. At any point.
Have we ever had him on Zoom or no?
No, I think we've had him in the COVID era, but I think it was over the phone.
Over the phone, right? Yeah, I don't think he does a lot of Zoom, or he doesn't seem to like Zoom as much.
Wow, he's got to dress for it. You know, he's got an image to maintain.
He does.
He got thrown off Facebook and Instagram yesterday.
Yeah, he did.
So he's got no social media left. They said that they connected him to a ring of fake accounts and Proud Boy accounts. So they chucked him off the platforms. I mean, you know, timing-wise, I don't think you could do Facebook and Instagram from jail. I mean, maybe you can. I don't know. I've never been. But it might be the best. If you're going to get thrown off, if you're going to jail anyway, it might be the best possible time to do it. It's not like he's going to miss it.
Yeah, but not like a few days before, where you might want to say a couple of things publicly. Hey, look, I understand they have to get rid of fake accounts, and if it was tied to fake accounts, great. But it is interesting who they are taking fake accounts, and who they seem to be looking at. But hey, the more that they do, I guess, the better. If there's fake accounts, good, get rid of them.
I'm trying to find out if Roger Stone has a Finsta, if that's the problem here.
I imagine he does. I imagine he does. Yeah, Roger's.
So this isn't one of the stories that you hear and you go like, this sounds like a railroading to me. You go like, okay. I mean, again, you say what you say. It's interesting who they decide to get on these rules, but you also are not going to sit there and say, I don't believe that he broke that rule. You think it's possible? I
do believe that it's a possible rule that Roger. Sure, I mean he's an operator. You know what I mean? He's one of those guys that maneuvers and manipulates things and tries to make things happen. So it's not crazy to me that would. I wasn't shocked to read that when I read the reasoning behind it. It wasn't that surprising.
Okay, let me see if this works. Travis, get me Roger Stone. And did it work? Oh my God, I was expecting that not to work. It actually worked. I can't believe it. That's incredible.
Now we have a microphone, but we have no. There he is.
There he is. Roger Stone is here with us in his Roger Stone T-shirt.
Roger X.
Roger X. Is that you are dressed like a little like is the glasses kind of and that Elijah Muhammad kind of a feel to it with the hat?
A homage. It's a homage.
It's a homage. Okay. Why to that person or why to that? Why Roger X?
Just kidding.
Oh, okay.
Actually, a kid, a 12-year-old kid in Nigeria mailed me this hat. He loves American politics. He wants to move to America. He loves Donald Trump. He loves baseball. And it was kind of cool, you know. 12 years old, sent me his picture. Really kind of cool. So it's early. I haven't been in the shower yet, so I decided to wear his hat.
How did he get your address to send you a hat?
Pardon me?
How did he get your address to send you a hat? How does somebody from Nigeria get Roger Stone's address?
Because if you go to the stonedefensefund.com site, because a lot of just putting their financial information on the internet, you know, using PayPal or a credit card, a lot of people want to mail you a check.
Right.
So you got my address there, and it came through my accountant's office. Actually.
That's great.
I kind of liked it. So anyway, here we are.
Well, Roger, how are you doing? Okay, it's been a rough. It's a rough period of time for you right now. You got thrown off Facebook and Instagram yesterday. That's the least of your concerns, though, as you are scheduled, I believe, to report to jail on Tuesday of next week. How are you holding up?
Well, first of all, I want to thank the people at Facebook, Twitter.
Oh,
the
boy.
truth is, even though I had, 165,000 followers on Facebook and maybe 50,000 on Instagram, I was so ridiculously shadow banned that now we're speaking to about 20 times more people than I was reaching on social media. It was kind of, it's not only ridiculous, it's obvious. You post something that in 2016, for example, comment about you get 2,000 shares and
Roger,
a couple hundred comments. Today,
I hate to interrupt you. We have a little tech. We have a tech thing going on. That's the only reason I interrupt you. Did you stop paying your internet, knowing that you're going to jail anyway? Because you're getting some glitches.
It's very hard to hear you because you're echoing.
With all due respect, if you carry it in your pockets, you're going to probably be in jail before I will. So, no, I'm sorry. We have an issue. I'm not sure.
It's hard to hear you. Like it's a stutter when you're talking. Like it's ripped. Like I wasn't sure if it was me, so I didn't ask you first. But it's hard to hear you. So we're trying to play catch up when you're talking.
All right. Here's what we're going to do. Let me log off. Let me try to do a technical fix, and I'll be back live.
Yeah, come right back in 5 minutes. We want to talk to you. Okay. I wasn't sure if it was mine or not because I've had a couple of internet.
It's probably the NSA. They're not being very helpful these days. So I will be back with you momentarily.
Okay, come right back.
Okay,
yeah.
Great.
Yeah, at first I didn't want to say anything because I didn't know if that was me or not. Because sometimes hearing something like is that my? You never know if it's your internet or somebody else's.
You did not sign up.
This thing is still on.
It's still on.
Still on.
Maybe he wants it to be on. He's signing off.
I doubt that's how the internet works.
Yeah, you're still on, Roger.
Yeah, he knows.
Yeah. He knows.
Yeah,
he knows.
He's just clicking.
It's on
off.
purpose. Yeah, what are you talking about? It's on purpose. Yeah, of course. He knows that.
Yeah, he knows.
Everybody does that. That's how you operate.
That was really bad, and I really wasn't sure. I'm like, because you didn't seem to be reacting to it. I'm like, maybe I'm the only one. I actually just fucking texted Travis. I'm like, is that me?
I hope when that stuff happens, like I hope that it just happens for a moment.
Goes
like
away,
I hear it every time, but I hope that it just goes away and we can just keep it moving. We don't have to stop the show. But that was not going away. Every other word was.
He sounded like Ronald Reagan in Cafe 80s in Back to the Future. He's trying to order.
Yeah, I'm glad it wasn't me.
He's thinking though it could be government interference because
they are silencing him. They are silencing him across all platforms. No Facebook, no Twitter, no Instagram, and now no internet.
Right. Maybe do you think they were worried that he was going to be on Jim and Sam, and they were like, we can't have him on that show and get asked about his zoot suits again. Like it's too dangerous for us.
I think so. Yeah, I think they're a little worried about what he might say. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I wonder if Trump's going to pardon him. Didn't Trump say he doesn't have anything to worry about? He should sleep easy at night. He
said he could sleep easy at night. Yeah. Which, if I'm Roger Stone at this point, I'm like, okay, buddy, like. Could you say exactly what that meant, please? Like, could we clarify this now? It's time. Because I want to know, is he not going to do any jail time? Is he going to have to do some jail time before Trump pardons him? Like, what's the plan here?
There's a series on Netflix called Trial by Media, and the series is okay.
It's good.
And the Trial by Media idea, they don't they don't put the media in the spotlight at all. It just shows you famous cases. Yeah. But the case about the rape victim in the Boston bar who was, raked over the coals by the defense. That was a great episode. And there was did they do they did two from New York. They did Amadou Diallo and one more from New York. It wasn't the Central Park jogger. It wasn't what was the other one from New York? 5. It wasn't Abner Louima.
It was, what's his name with the squirrels? Bernie Getz.
The subway governor.
Yeah.
And then Rod Blagojevich over in Chicago, the governor, and they talked about how Trump did eventually commute his sentence and he got out of jail. He did way too much time anyway. 8 years for some dumb conversations was a little much.
Yeah. And I think Trump just kind of got him out because they met on The Apprentice. Or did he do The Apprentice after? Maybe he did The Apprentice after.
No. No. I mean, maybe after he got in trouble, but not before. It was before jail because
Oh,
He
yeah,
met
because he
him.
just got out of jail
Just got out of jail
kind
this
of
year.
recently, right?
I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
January.
okay. So, yeah, then that's where that's where they must have clicked then.
And
Yeah,
I
I mean,
heard his
I
wife.
feel like-
His wife was very nice defending him. And Trump said, I heard his wife. She seemed very nice, and it just convinced him.
Yeah. Well, Trump wasn't the president when he went to jail, correct?
No, he went like 8 years
Right.
ago. 7 years.
Right. So, yeah, so it was, I guess, a thing once Trump got in.
Yeah, I don't know what Trump's going to do with Roger. I hope Roger calls back because I really do want to know. I mean, he was very close. You can't be more loyal than Roger's been to Trump.
No, you can't. I don't. Yeah, I mean, I think Trump's going to definitely pardon him. I just think the question is when. Like, what is Roger going to actually have to do? Like, does Trump just to save face? Does he have to let Roger do a little bit of time, or is he going to war, fighting for his people, and is he going to make it so Roger doesn't have to do any time? I'm very interested in seeing.
I bet you he does it, but I bet you Roger has to do a few months because I bet you he waits until after the election. Either way, like if he wins, he probably pardons him, but it might almost be better for Roger if Trump loses because then in January, in the final January before they leave, they can pardon anybody and not give a shit. But if he's got 4 more years, he may have to be careful about who he pardons.
I guess.
Yeah, I don't.
You mean why?
I don't
Just
think
because
he's worried
people won't.
about that.
I don't think so either. I mean, if he's worried about people cooperating with him, that's not exactly how he's carried himself the last 4 years. Trump.
No, but he's still. I mean, strategically, it might be better to not pardon. It just might not be the look that. Again, I don't understand. I don't know. But I was just thinking that if you're Roger, you want the guy on his way out the door to do something.
I mean, that's the easiest for sure. That's the most
easiest.
painless way to do it. But I honestly, at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if Trump does it before the election. I would not be even remotely surprised to read an article on Tuesday that said Trump's pardoning him today. He's not going to do 1 day of jail time.
No, I wouldn't.
I
just the fact that he hasn't done it yet. I'm like, maybe there's a strategic reason. Like, why hasn't? It's weird that he hasn't. Maybe he's letting it go down to the wire, or I don't know.
Yeah, maybe he just wants
Dramatic
to let Roger sweat.
Maybe he enjoys
Just
it
for fun.
Yeah. Like
Yeah,
if I
maybe.
could pardon you, Jim. Like I would be like, don't worry, I'm gonna pardon you, and I would like for you to stay up, going, oh, when the fuck's he gonna pardon me? When's he gonna do it? When he said he's gonna do it? When's he gonna do it? Like it would be fun.
I'd rather go to prison. I'd rather go to prison than owe you a pardon favor.
I don't think he's coming.
Yeah.
I hope
You don't
he
think
comes
that's
back.
it?
No, I think that's it for the internet.
Why? Oh, is he having?
Well, I mean, it did say. I mean, it did.
Sounded
It
really
did
bad.
sound like. It sounded like he gave up on the internet because he's not gonna need it while he's gone.
Shit.
You think he just stopped paying the bill?
Oh yeah, that's my theory
Okay.
right now, until I get proven wrong. My theory is that he decided, why pay the bill?
I mean, it's been like 10 minutes.
Well,
He said 5. Hey, Travis is right. That's double.
he might be rebooting.
That's true.
A hard reboot of the system.
You do
That's true.
have to
I mean,
count
he
to
didn't-
30 before plugging it back in. So
Yeah. And he didn't seem like it's weird. Like he's tech savvy enough to have all those fake Facebook accounts, but he didn't know how to sign off Zoom. I guess Zoom is new, but maybe that's what happened. Maybe all those fake Facebook accounts were sucking up all his bandwidth on his internet. his internet started flaking out because it couldn't handle all the fake Facebook and Instagram accounts.
I think that's the worst internet we've had yet. I think that's the worst one
Definitely.
we've had. Definitely the worst one.
Definitely. Yeah, because like most of the ones we've had, there'll be a little, delay. Half the time, I don't even think the audience is aware of it. But there'll be a little delay, or the mouth won't quite match up with the audio, and you'll have to give it like a minute or two before it catches up again. But that was like we've never had the remix. That was the Roger Stone remix.
That was that was really bad. Really bad. I really thought it was mine. I'm like, there's no way anyone's internet is this shitty. It's got to be me having a problem.
Yeah, no, it was Raj.
I think we'll probably just go
It
straight
was
to my
old
can.
Raj.
Yeah, you can.
I mean,
probably
yeah,
come back on.
My cannon's on, and
Let me just invite everybody to turn their mic or their video back.
Is Mike here?
And then we got it.
Nope.
Oh.
Then we got it.
No,
yeah,
he'll be here in like 15 minutes.
No. Sam said Mike's on, so I thought maybe he had just jumped in early.
Who is this? Hang
No,
on,
it's-
you might-
Mike's gonna.
I don't know who this person is, but I will admit them.
That's Mike Montone. He
Nope.
works for us, Travis. He's a newer employee, yes, but you probably were distracted by the flashlight.
Been here for like over a year now. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I'm still learning all the faces.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
All right.
Back?
We're back.
Oh, that sounds
Okay, hang on.
that sounds like Roger, and that
All right,
sounds
sounds like
crystal
Roger.
clear too.
Goodbye, Mike. Goodbye, Troy.
Yeah, Roger's back, and he's at there. He is. What's
There we
going
go.
on there? That sounds much better.
A little better.
Probably may have to do it from there.
Oh yeah.
Okay, good. I'm sorry about that. We had to switch out computers.
That's fine.
No
You worked
worries
it
at
out.
all.
You sound perfect right now. But we're afraid of if it's the internet. So we have to ask, how are you feeling right now? You seem like publicly, you seem like you might be getting just a little bit nervous.
No, actually, I'm not nervous at all. I feel pretty good. I reaffirmed my faith in Christ about back in January. I had a chance to meet Franklin Graham. I'm never very much of a religious guy. I mean, I was born a Catholic. I'm still a Catholic. Had all my sacraments in that church. Went to Catholic education. Had my knuckles wrapped by the nuns. One nun locked me in a closet once, but that's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
Back in January, my life was, garbage. I was in turmoil. I was angry. I was frustrated. You have to understand that the rules that the judge set in my trial, essentially disallowing any powerful line of defense, be like going into a boxing match with both hands tied behind your back. And then the guy in the sideline says, well, Stone never threw any punches. Rigged, top to bottom, just rigged, Soviet style. I had a jury, every one of whom hated Donald Trump, and therefore, by inference, they hated me. No Republicans, no conservatives, no independents, no free thinkers, no non-political people. There was never really a prayer. So my friend Tucker Carlson put it best. Stone's trial was over before he got there. Then after the trial, we learned that the jury forewoman, who's a lawyer and ran for Congress in Tennessee as a Democrat, through all of 2019, she was posting things on the internet attacking me by name. Never mind
Right.
Donald Trump, me. That constitutes evidence of bias, in my opinion, starting on the day that I was arrested and throughout the year. But then during the trial, she had her social media platforms on a private setting so nobody could see them. And then after the trial, she deleted them. Facebook she'd had since 2006, she deleted. And when my lawyers asked for the right to subpoena that material, the judge denied it. I think the word is cover up, I believe. So, I have an appeal pending. I'll win the appeal because the Supreme Court is very strict about this. You're entitled to an indifferent and impartial jury. There's nothing impartial about this woman. She hated my guts.
How does that happen? Like even in pretrial preparation, aren't they? I guess they're interviewing people, saying, "Do you know anything about the case? Do you have any bias?" So didn't she? If she had that stuff on the internet, didn't she say, "No, I have no bias"? So wouldn't that have been a blatantly untrue?
Well, the problem is, first of all, she lied during jury selection. She said she couldn't recollect who I was or what I was charged with. But she had all her social media postings on a private setting, so you couldn't see them. When somebody ultimately found them on a Wayback Machine, she had posted a story specifically about my indictment. But when this came up in the hearing, the judge stopped the proceedings and said, just because she posted something on Twitter doesn't mean she read it. Okay, right. So, my problem here is a more immediate one. I have to live to get to the appeal. So in other words, today, it's the policy of the Department of Justice and the U.S. Bureau of Prisons to move inmates who are convicted of nonviolent crimes from incarceration to home confinement. Michael Avenatti, the creepy porn lawyer who stole $25 million from his clients, he's in home confinement. Michael Cohen, the dumbest human being on the face of the planet, a man who, if his IQ was 1 point lower, he'd be a plant. He has been moved to home confinement. Rick Gates.
Yeah, he got into a little trouble, by the way, for going out to dinner. They're like, was he allowed to do that? Yeah, that was not right.
Look, I'm under home confinement right now. I haven't left the house. If I have one more pizza, I'm gonna turn into one. I mean, it's surprising how much you miss just going outside, you know. And then of course there's Rick Gates, Paul Manafort's bag man, very strong guy because those bags were really heavy. You know, he's in home confinement. But 67-year-old Roger Stone with a lifetime problem with asthma, no, the program doesn't apply to him. So as of this minute, they want me to surrender to a prison in rural Georgia, where at the time of the court's order had no COVID-19 cases, at least according to the government's website. Now has one confirmed case, 25 cases that are pending, for which we have no results. I'm not sure why that's taking 3 weeks, and 1,400 people, inmates who are untested, and 500 employees who are untested. But according to the Prison Guards Union, nobody's wearing masks, nobody's washing their hands.
Right.
There are no precautions as required by CDC. So you know what I call this? I call this the death penalty. That's what I call it.
So is that what you're most worried about?
I'm concerned that if I went there at my age and condition, I might not live to see my appeal a year from now. I'll win my appeal a year from now if I'm, still above ground.
Well, President Trump said that you could sleep well at night. Do you have you had? You wouldn't tell us if you had any conversations, but do you?
I would. I can honestly tell you that I have not. Yesterday there was a rumor that kind of floated around, started at CNN. Let me be very clear. Literally nothing you see on CNN is accurate. Nothing. It's all 100% made up. And they were chasing around town saying, Stone has talked to the president multiple times in the last week. Sorry, I haven't talked to the president in 2 years. I do try to read what he thinks through his tweets. And since the day 29 FBI agents showed up at my house at 5 a.m. to drag me and my wife out in the middle of the street in our bare feet in our night clothes, although I was wearing a Roger Stone Did Nothing Wrong t-shirt.
Yes, you are.
Branding. For a non-violent white-collar process crime, his tweets have been very critical of my prosecution, critical of the conduct of my trial, and quite supportive. So, I'm optimistic. We're down to the last days here. But I reaffirm my commitment. If I do get sent to the slam, I am going to do an interview with you guys.
Yes.
But it's in the middle of nowhere. Who knows if they have internet service at this place?
Don't you have his number? Can't you shoot him a text?
Who?
The president.
Yeah, I'm sure his lawyers would be delighted with that. My lawyers wouldn't like that either. There's a bunch of people who run around saying, "Oh, Stone was promised this from the beginning. He's covering up for Trump." It is true that Michael Cohen, who literally, it's hard for me to understand if he really got out of law school, because this guy is dumb as a box of rocks. And Rick Gates, who I spoke of earlier, Manafort's bag man, he testified against my trial, falsely, I might add. That'll come up in appeal. They both claim that they overheard conversations between me and the candidate Trump regarding WikiLeaks and the timing of the WikiLeaks disclosures. The problem with that is they have no corroboration at all, no phone records, they say there are other people in the car or other people present, but those people say they have no memory of that happening. I think this is called plea bargain induced testimony. It's false. If anybody thinks, and I denied it when I went to the House Intelligence Committee voluntarily, if anybody thinks the government could prove that, they would have charged me with it and they would have attempted to impeach the president with it. That's because it never happened. So you're going to hear that whole, routine. If, and I really don't know, the president elects some form of clemency. Legally, there's two things he could do. He could pardon me, then Dick Nixon and I would really have something in common. Or more likely, he could just commute my sentence, which means I would still have to battle it out on appeal, which frankly I want to do because I want an opportunity to clear my name.
What do you mean?
Would you be pissed if you have to sit there for a year, right? If you have to do a year in jail,
I won't live a year in jail.
Okay, but let's say you did. Let's say, and I'll be praying for you. Let's say you did, and by the grace of God, he keeps you alive. Would you be pissed at Trump for letting you sit in jail for a year, but waiting for the appeal, knowing he could have done one of these two things?
Something I learned in politics 30 years ago. Don't answer hypothetical questions. I'll take a pass on that one.
All right, how about this? Are you angry now that he hasn't gotten a hold of you? That he hasn't done it yet?
Given the dangers of COVID virus, which I think changes everything, because I think it's real. I know people who have died of it. I don't think everybody is vulnerable. I think it has to do with your age, your health conditions, maybe even certain genes. But I don't think I don't believe that he will subject me to what could really be fatal. Now, maybe I'm wrong. I have no promises. Not now, not from the beginning. All I've done is tell the truth. And all these guys did was to fashion a series of gotcha questions that were immaterial. In other words, you saw this guy, Aaron Zelinsky. I don't know if you saw this guy the other day. He testified for the House Judiciary Committee. You can always tell what he had for lunch by looking at his tie. But he was one of the prosecutors. He was one of the prosecutors in my case. He went to Yale, which means that means he's smart. Actually, it means he's not smart. He's a legacy. His father went to Yale. It's the only reason he got in. He reminds me kind of Blutarsky in Animal House, but not as smooth, if you know what I mean. And he testified for the House Judiciary Committee, but he couldn't testify in person because of COVID-19. He had to testify by Skype from his lawyer's office a half mile from where the hearings are. Yet he thinks I should go to a jail where there's COVID-19. Kind of a hypocritical view. This guy's testimony was this guy was a legal Fred Astaire. It was the greatest combination of perjury, hearsay, and bullshit I've ever heard in my entire life. The guy has no proof whatsoever that he and other prosecutors were pressured regarding my sentence. The sentencing guidelines for the crimes that I was falsely and incorrectly, or pardon me, wrongfully convicted of is 18 months. He wanted 9 years. The prosecutors who took his place, who really were non-political career line prosecutors, they got 40 months. Tell me where I got a break. Where was the break that I got? I mean, it's really an absurdity. But it is, they're rolling all these guys out because I guess there's a fear, that maybe the president is considering clemency. I'm worried because I think Jake Tapper might jump off the 14th Street Bridge if that happens.
Roger, before we let you go, can we ask too about Facebook and Instagram? They have why have they deactivated your accounts? Did you have other accounts, dummy accounts that you were using?
Because
hell yeah.
Because first of all, the charge that I owned hundreds of fake Facebook pages is categorically false. It's just not true. Some left-wing group that does research has a report which is these are the same people, by the way, who did the Russian collusion report for the Senate Intelligence Committee. No Russian collusion was found. The report is completely fraudulent. Today is going to be my lawyer's field day because I'm suing the crap out of everybody involved. The truth of it is, although most of my posts on Instagram were humorous, I guess these guys don't like comedy. And I had 165,000 followers, somewhere around there, on Facebook on paper. But the shadow banning was so extensive that I was reaching 5 people or 7. So I hate to say this, but I don't think I lost all that much, although they have now opened themselves off to a number of lawsuits. Just to be clear, I never owned 100 fake Facebook sites. It's a lie. There's no evidence of it. Now, when I wrote a book, like my book on the Kennedy assassination, which we've discussed on this show, I set up a page on Facebook to promote sales of the book. That's not phony. If you read their report, that's phony. There's nothing phony about that. Has my name on it. I attended it. I published articles about the book, reviews about the book, comments about the book. But it's this idea that I had people with fake identities owning, it's just categorically untrue. We'll prove it in court. I'm not too concerned about it.
You should.
The great part, in all honesty, is right now on this show, we are reaching 100 times more people than I would have reached if I had posted something on Facebook this morning, thanks to their shadow banning practices.
Yeah.
Plus, you can, I think, if you're going to appeal, if you're going to go to court and sue over the fact that you were accused of this thing from Facebook, I would bring a copy of this interview and go, look, my internet that I have can barely handle one Zoom call.
Right.
How could I have 100 Facebook pages?
It is true. I am a technological Luddite. There's no question about that. But it's very cleverly written. The problem is it's just not true. And they're very careful to kind of mix a combination of truth and falsehood. So I have a website, Stone Cold Truth. I urge people to go there, stonecoldtruth.com. I was banned for 16 months from being able to post on it by a tyrannical judge who doesn't believe in free speech. But now I am posting on it again, and people can go there and see what they want, what they'd like. And I write about everything: politics, food, how badly dressed you guys are, anything. And I did have a Facebook page for my blog in which I would post content from the blog and promote people to read the blog. But according to this report, that's fake. That's not fake. You can't write. That's the problem.
Yeah.
All right.
I see.
Well, look,
Roger,
we worry about you, so we're glad that you're at least still feeling positive about hopefully getting a pardon.
I actually, it's in God's hands. I feel pretty good. The president that I've known for 40 years is an individual of great fairness. He realized that I was railroaded in a Soviet-style show trial by a judge who was out of control. I mean, in the final sentencing, I stood there for a 55-minute unhinged rant in which she said, among other things, there was nothing phony about the Mueller investigation. Sorry, Judge, better read those declassified documents. There was nothing legitimate about it. She said, you were convicted of covering up for Donald Trump. Better go back and read those charges. That's not what I was charged with nor convicted of. She said, Mr. Stone, you are belligerent. That means I refuse to plead guilty to something I didn't do. Your misstatements to the House committee disrupted and forced them, caused them not to have an accurate report. Really? That's not what a majority of the committee members said. They said Stone's comments had no impact on our final conclusions anyway. So it is, it's almost like a Kafkaesque world. Here's my advice. If you're a Trump supporter, don't get accused of any crime, including jaywalking in the District of Columbia.
Well, Roger, I think that's the note to end on. We appreciate you. And, God forbid you do go to COVID jail. Let's do the jail phone call early.
Sooner.
That way. Yeah, because I don't want to have to wait. Yeah. We'll do the phone call on early side. Okay, great.
No, look,
great.
Jim, you'll probably open the Roger Stone Memorial Society and start cashing in immediately. If I kick the bucket. So look, I don't think that's going to happen. I pray it's not going to happen. Here's why. It is the policy of the Department of Justice and the Bureau of Prisons to take people in my exact position and put them in home confinement. So last week when this clown Zelensky said Stone got special treatment, well, he wasn't kidding. Mueller, Comey, Clapper, Brennan, they lied to Congress, not prosecuted. I am special treatment. FBI shows up at your house, 29 agents to roust you out of bed and drag you in the street for the CNN cameras when you're accused of a white-collar process crimes. Definitely special treatment. And now you go to jail, but Avenatti, you stole $25 million, you can stay home. Yeah, I'd call that special treatment, no question.
Yep, it is not consistent.
Thank you, Roger.
Anyway, thanks, Roger.
Appreciate the and of course, stonecoldtruth.com is the website, right?
Stonecoldtruth.com is my blog. If you want to help me in what continues to be a legal quagmire, because now I had to file 2 emergency motions to try to stay out of jail, and I'm going to have to sue Facebook and these fellows on Wall Street who have falsified the stories about my owning hundreds of websites, which I don't own. People can go to stonedefensefund.com, stonedefensefund.com. Always fun to be with you guys.
Yes,
I know
Roger.
You'll get a lot of crap for the rest of the day for even having me here.
Rest of the month.
I appreciate it.
Yes, thank you,
Liberals
Roger.
are so tolerant. They're so tolerant.
All right, we'll talk to you
talk to you
hopefully
soon,
soon, and hopefully staying free. All right.
Either way soon.
All right,
Either way soon. We'll talk to you.
Yeah.
If things go my way, let's do the show right away.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Either way.
And if not, I'll see you in Georgia.
All right.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, that's the attitude. Thank you, Roger. Roger Stone.
right,
Everybody.
You are kind of in a way hoping. Like, I don't want to see Roger go to jail because I like Roger, but if it's just for a day or two, just to get the phone call from jail.
I'd like for him to go to jail. Yeah. I mean, I don't think he would spend any time in there because of Trump and everything. So I don't think that I'm wishing ill on anybody. But I would like to get the Roger Stone jail phone call. And
the phone call, sure.
I think it would be nice for him to prove that he's a man of his word. I like that he brought that up without us even asking.
Yes.
Yeah, I was happy with that. That's
he mentioned
good.
it. He mentioned
Yeah.
it. We didn't have to ask. That's right.
Let's should we just bring in our next guest? I mean, we don't have to take a break.
Yeah.
We'll have to take a break at some point.
Yes.
But
I think we could.
you can do like
we could
15
probably.
minutes.
Or can we take a break at like 9:30?
Yeah. You can do that too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
that's what
love
was
when
thinking.
we find a solution.
Yeah.
All right. Let's admit.
Where's
Mike?
Where is Mike Cannon? The great Mike Cannon, who's back on the road, even though comedians are getting COVID now. Mike doesn't give a fuck. He's going back on the road.
Who got COVID?
Brendan Schaub and Brian
Oh.
Callen both got COVID.
Brian's got it too.
And,
I didn't hear that. I heard Brendan. I didn't hear Brian.
Oh, yeah. Brian and Brendan got it. And then once Mike Cannon heard about that, he was like, we're going back on the road? so Mike's
Am I
got
in
gigs
danger?
this weekend. Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think you probably get it. Yeah.
Your hair looks
Yeah, it'll
terrific,
be-
Mike.
Thanks, Jim. It's a little faded pink. I'm not handling this well.
No. Well, Mike Cannon is here. Our buddy. Of course, you'll be where in Connecticut this weekend, right?
Yeah, Comics Mohegan Sun, baby.
Love that.
Yeah,
I can't
so
wait.
As if comedy shows weren't enough of a danger, I'm going right into a casino.
So wait, what capacity are they doing?
I think they're doing 25%.
25%.
Yeah, with masks and everybody's separated and wearing a
Right.
bubble or something.
Okay, 25.
It's a good thing that I don't fill seats anyway, so it's probably going to work out to the exact capacity.
Well, that's why they called you. They were like, "Can we just get an average Mike Cannon crowd to
Yeah.
show up to a show?" We're actually fine with that. Yeah. I see in your background you got the rad background.
You goddamn right, dude. I'm all rad all day.
Okay, well, listen. I know that. Obviously, I know that because we've had these conversations many times. and I've had you on the show. We've talked to Wesley Snipes and Ice Cube. You named your kid after a character from the movie Rad, correct?
The character, yeah. I didn't name him Bart.
You didn't name him Bart Taylor, the man?
Yeah. Although that is my second son.
Well, Mike, what if I were to tell you that the reason that we said Mike's got to be on today was because I said of all the times that Mike has been there for us, we have to be there for him because we want him to be here when we have the cast of Rad on the show.
No shit. You got to be kidding me.
That's what the plan is for today, yeah.
Are you kidding?
No.
I'm sweating.
Yeah. That's why.
Have you ever talked to them before?
No, I mean, Bill Allen sent me a cameo from my wife, and it was hilarious. I could see him trying to muster up the enthusiasm he's made for every idiot like me who's like, I heard you named your kid after my character. Cool, dude. It was just hilarious.
So we've got in like 15 minutes or so, we're going to be joined by Bill Allen, Bart Connor, who is Bart Taylor, and Talia Shire, who's the mother, obviously. She's what's her name in Rocky, too.
Dude, I'm going to start crying.
Yeah.
Are you fucking kidding?
Yeah, I'm not kidding. I'm not
oh
kidding.
My
They're
God.
on. They're around. So, Jim, like Rad, this movie Rad, I don't know if you've ever even seen it, Jim. I mean,
I have not, but I've seen Rocky. Wait till I start doing the impressions. Oh, she's going to go crazy. You forgot The Godfather, too. I can't wait until I'm going to go, yo, Adrian, and I'm going to throw punches.
It was actually funny because, like, Mike, you would have loved it. Roland sent us a text. He was like, hey, would you guys want Talia Shire on the show? And we were both like, yeah, of course. Like, she's an icon.
Sure.
And they were like, and Roland was like, yeah, she's promoting Rad. And I was like, what? Can you get everybody else from that movie on the show, too? And he was like, yeah, I guess. Because Rad
because you just got the re-release, right?
The Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, dude. I just watched it myself, and it's just like... I'm now introducing it to people that have never seen it, never heard of it. And, obviously they're like, oh, you named your son after this movie. I guess I got to check it out. And it is now spreading like wildfire. They love it.
It really is. I feel like there's so much more activity for this movie now because of that Blu-ray release. But the Blu-ray release was super limited. And it's already, I don't even know what they're promoting today because it's already sold out on the website. Like you go on
it's
eBay
coming out on demand for the first time. So it's also available on like iTunes and stuff.
That's what it is. Then.
Wait, you want to hear something crazy? So it's not, but it's in my head. I've made it into this event, but it's actually coming out on demand for the first time on my son Cruz's first birthday.
Whoa!
Right?
That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah. That's meant to be.
Why do you like it so much, Mike?
I like it so much because it's one of the first movies I remember like re-renting every time I'd go to like Captain Video. I was upset. I mean, and it's a perfect movie for like a young boy that spends most of their time outside. I grew up in a small ass town. I had all older kids in my neighborhood. All we did was ride bikes, get dirty, and fist fight. And this movie starts with just a 5-minute 80s music BMX trick off that's like it just locks you in if you're a little kid, and then the story is like good old fashioned redemption and come from behind kind of stuff, and I don't know, I love it. I latched onto it immediately.
Okay,
it's basically the quintessential 80s, specifically BMX movie where it's just about this small town and there's this guy named Crew Jones. And he's a great BMX biker, but, he's not in it for the money. He's just good at riding his bicycle. And then they're bringing in a bike competition. They're bringing in a whole bunch of professionals to ride the Hell Track. And what they don't know is it's all about profit for the town, man. It's all about profit and making money. And they don't want any of the local kids to ride on it. And they do everything they can to stop Crew and the Rad team from joining this race because they don't want the professionals to look bad. They don't want them to lose to a local kid. And I won't spoil it, Jim. I don't want to tell you whether or not
don't tell me,
makes it into the race and wins.
Yeah. Oh, no, I'll see it.
Also, one of the best villains ever in Duke Best. That guy plays a drunk perfectly.
What year is this movie?
86.
Oh, okay. This is a 35-year. All right, Duke Best. That's a great name.
Oh, it's so good.
Best.
Dude, Sam, so I was sending Sam pictures of BMX bikes that I was looking at because, while you're in quarantine, obviously, I've never had a hobby in my entire life because my entire time is dedicated to both comedy, my wife, and our kid. And so now, I'm sitting here in the fucking sticks in the suburbs just trying to figure out stuff to do. And so I've been poring over eBay trying to find the perfect bike. Of course, I bought, an immediate Haro that was, too small for me. I didn't even read the description of it. And then I just recently, though, Sam, I got a deal on a 97 Mongoose Villain.
Whoa.
So, and it's like this beautiful chrome BMX bike that I also just, I ordered the vintage 85 handlebars. So I got the old handlebars. I just bought the Crew Jones pad set, the red and yellow pad set. I got the old decals. Dude, I am a loser.
No, you're not. You're a winner.
Have you
That's
seen it
a
more
winner
than
to me.
once?
Yeah, a few times. I've seen it more than once this quarantine.
This movie also, Jim, got cemented into like people that are maybe grew up like around when Mike and I grew up, because there was a period of time in the very early 90s when HBO would literally air this movie 3 times a day. Like it was on all the time, and you'd sit there and you would watch it every single time it was on.
See, Sam, you're a privileged young man. I never had HBO. I never had cable until I was like 15 years old. So I just had the VHS, which I still stole from the fucking movie store and I have upstairs. And I just like rode that into the ground.
I'm so happy we have Talia Shire. I mean,
awesome.
she was in The Godfather. I know Rad was a big movie.
I guess that's cool too.
But she was Connie in The Godfather.
Oh, I guess, yeah. I don't know. I've probably seen Rad more times than I've seen The Godfather.
I definitely
have. Well, we just interviewed. Who was the guy that played Carlo? He was great. He's an interesting guy.
Yeah.
I loved him. I love these old school actors. They always have good stories. They're always open. They're never babies. They're great. I'm really happy we have her today.
Yeah, and it's like because they're not sitting there trying to be like, oh, I don't want to say the wrong thing about the wrong person. Like, they're ready to reflect.
I love her son
right.
too. Do you know Jason? Jason Schwartzman.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I think her other son, I think Jason is the actor, and then the other son is actually the one distributing this film, is distributing Rad.
Oh.
Like he's in the film.
He owns Vinegar
distribution
Syndrome?
business. I don't know if he owns Vinegar Syndrome or if he licensed the movie to Vinegar Syndrome to release on Blu-ray.
Gotcha. They did a bang up job, though. I have no idea what goes into any of this stuff, but when you watch Rad, it's an 80s movie, so it's always on the film. Like the sunset is kind of purple and weird looking, and all the colors are a little blown out. And then for this 4K, they did a really legit job.
Yeah, they put the movie out. I don't even think the movie's ever been on DVD, but they put the movie out on Blu-ray and on 4K, which is like, this is the quintessential movie that doesn't really need a 4K release, but absolutely needs a 4K release, So as soon as it went on sale for pre-order, I was like on Mike going like, dude, this is happening. And we both pre-ordered it at the same time. And yeah, I mean, it's full of extras. Now, the one problem with the 4K though, and because that's what I was watching, is once it's in that like super HD, you do kind of notice that maybe Lori Loughlin is not doing all of those bike stunts.
Oh, no.
Then maybe you realize a dude in a wig wearing mom jeans.
Oh, but she had some real muscular thighs in some of those cutaways. Yeah. Every once in a while, you're like, wow, Lori's back grew by about 8 inches.
Really,
I think that was Eddie Fiola and somebody else. I forget the other guy's the other stunt driver's name, but they did all the Crew Jones stunts and the Christian Hollings.
Oh.
Yeah, I've been, dude, so I'm like, I am in a wild, mentally ill spiral back into my youth, because not only have I bought this bike, I've been going through interviews of Eddie Fiola talking about Rad. Obviously, I got the cameo from Bill Allen. I'm also now on YouTube looking up how to do tricks. I'm 35. I just got health insurance, and I guess I'm looking to test it out because my wrists are sore from doing bunny hops. I suck.
And by tricks, you mean you're going to hook.
Yeah. I'm gonna sit on my sweet shiny bike and get ready for a male caller.
Should
Well,
we?
let's bring in
our
a
first
couple
two
of
guests
guests. Let's bring on Bill Allen, who played Crew Jones in the film Rad, as well as Bart Connor, better known as Bart Taylor, the Man. Which is, literally the best T-shirt. Do you have a Bart Taylor the Man T-shirt?
No, I gotta get it. I just got a Rad T-shirt of the girl dancing with Rod and Rex on the side of her.
Well, there's Bill Allen.
Hello, Bill.
Crew Jones.
How's it going?
Bill, welcome. We've just been. First of all, can you see Mike's face right now? Mike is so giddy. We surprised Mike. Mike is our friend. He's a comedian. He didn't know that we were bringing him on to talk to you guys. Like, he just had the Rad background anyway. And I surprised him by bringing him on. He had no idea that this is what we were doing, which is why he looks so giddy right now. And there's Bart. Bart, welcome to the show. It's Jim and myself and Mike Cannon. How are you guys?
We're well. So excited to be here.
I don't know if Bart can hear us yet. He might be we always have that momentary thing in Zoom where somebody's just logging on, so I don't know if he can hear us. Mike, what would you like to ask? I'm sure you have a bunch of rad questions and a bunch of interview questions prepared.
I'm legitimately overwhelmed with emotion and glee right now. This is the best.
So
I can't believe it.
Bill, I need you to know that, just so we all start on the right page, that a year or so ago, Mike had his first son, and he literally named his son Crew.
That's awesome. That is so
Hell
cool.
Why not Bart?
That's the next one.
Yes, that's
the third and fourth are Rod and Rex.
What does this movie mean to you? Can you tell these guys like what it is that they mean to you? Because very rarely do we get to tell people who have done so much for us how we feel.
Well, even more so lately, it's like it's a jump into positivity. You know what I mean? There's so much negative shit going around, especially in the news, politics, whatever it may be. And this movie during quarantine for me personally has been like kind of a nice escape and, a return back to normalcy and a time when I was a kid and just kind of carefree and having a good time. And I sat my 1-year-old in his bobbly head in front of the TV and he was not that interested yet, but I'm very excited to kind of show him and, force my interest on him.
This is your namesake, Junior. This is your namesake.
Yeah. It'd be fantastic if he just has no interest.
Well, and now he's going to have to explain to his grandchildren where he got that ridiculous name. So it really assures that this movie will be talked about generations from now, like it or not. So I'm pretty excited about that. That's really cool, man. Congratulations.
Thanks. I said it as a joke. Like initially I was like, oh, what if we name our son Crew? Think I have a super Italian wife, so I thought they were going to push for like Cologeno or some horseshit. And their entire family was like, baby Crew. They ran with it, and it stuck. I can't believe it.
How do you spell it? Is it CRUE or CREW?
CRU.
Oh, CRU.
That's the way to spell it.
Yeah,
that's the way.
That's the only way.
Were you guys shocked when you found out that Rad, which we were talking about it to guys from like mine and Mike's generation, like it's pretty iconic, but still, we haven't heard about this movie in a while. It's never gotten a DVD release. When you found out that it's getting this like 4K restoration and the Blu-ray treatment and everything, were you guys surprised that level of interest was there for it?
I've been aware that this movie has been quite the phenomenon and one of those movies that just wouldn't go away and would be bootlegged to death and passed around. So I had kind of given up hope for an official DVD release. It's been 34 years. And so when they announced that not only they were doing a DVD release, but a video on demand and some other cool things on coming down the pike. So this thing has been great. The timing has been very strange, but like you said, it's got that endless summer kind of quality, that innocent quality that takes us back to a time when things were just simpler and it was about just how good of a trick could you pull on your bike.
Yeah, and also about ass sliding.
Yes.
Ass sliding. I nearly lost my coffee on that one.
Back when
I did an interview with Sam Bernard, our writer, the other day, and I asked him about that because that's a pretty out there thing for basically a kids movie, and he was just looking for a bonding situation. So Crew and Christian could actually get wet and dry off and have that romantic moment that plays out towards the end. And it just has that unfortunate name.
But you named it. You didn't have to name it though. You're like sitting there going like, "Oh, you want to have fun?" And there's this romantic, and the music is playing, and then the music just gets interrupted for a second so that you can go, "This is ass sliding," and you're like, "What? Where did that come from?"
It's a real kind of needle off the record moment, but it plays out. You know, there's so many things about that movie that shouldn't work that actually make it just that much better, like the bicycle boogie scene, or ass sliding, or the twins dancing. I mean, it's just
the bicycle boogie scene is classic. Is that a thing? Like, were people dancing on their bikes before that movie, or did you guys create that?
Well, obviously, I didn't create it. It was kind of an homage to the dance movies of the time. Footloose and some of these other movies that were just kind of egregiously over the top in their musicality. And so they decided to put that in there, and it's been recreated in movies and videos. And it's just not one of those things that you can recreate at your wedding, because it requires that a man and a woman can ride at that level. So it's obviously a fantasy. I mean, when the lights come on and I've got the parachute pants with the sequins, you now know that we are through the looking glass. We're now going under the bed and through the wall, and we're now in a place that doesn't actually exist. And that, again, that's part of the beauty of it, and why people are still talking about it, I feel.
Where did Talia? We just had Talia Shire for a second, and then she disappeared.
Oh, she'll be back.
Okay.
Now, Bart, I mean, when you talk about the dancing scene, you have a lot of pressure on you, right? Because you got to dance, and you have to dance well. Like, you have to dance to the point that a grown man would look at a child and go, "Man, is there anything this boy can't do?" Like, that's a lot. That's a lot for you.
You say it just like Jack Weston. That's good. I showed that movie to my now 14-year-old son. I showed it to him last summer, and during the dance scene, he was just horrified. Like, I mean, how humiliating! This is my dad, right? Yeah, but it's amazing how that still resonates with people. I mean, all these years later, as Bill said, I mean, a week doesn't go by where somebody doesn't stop me or point at me or go rad, or they're like, "Dude, that was so cool when you stopped under the bridge." I'm like, what? That was 34 years ago. And yet for some reason, that moment really connected with these guys that are all, I don't know the age range now. Maybe you know better, Bill, but it's probably guys between about 34 and 50. I don't know, but yeah. I guess that was a coming of age movie for a lot of those young boys, and it still connects with them. And so the fact that it's still relevant and matters, and it's still campy and cool all these years later, to me, is just amazing.
Do you guys do signings and things like that, or Comic-Cons or any of that stuff?
Bill, you do. I don't do any of that, really, do I?
Yeah, I've been to just a jillion BMX events. I'm a BMXer myself now, so I attend a lot of races. And I ran into Bart a couple of years ago at an event in Texas where they recreated Hell Track. So awesome. whether or not we see each other, I feel connected to this guy into eternity. And how proud am I of that?
What was this
guy let me beat his best.
It's also pretty awesome that Olympians don't really parlay gold medals into an acting career anymore. Like, you don't see Simone Biles starring in, in a figure skating movie or anything like that. It's crazy that you did that.
Well, I think in a way that was part of the genius of Hal Needham, the director. He must have seen me in the Olympics, and I think he typecasted me. He wanted me be that blonde jerk with all the sponsors, like the guy in Karate Kid. And so he just felt like I could do that. Plus, there was a big scene with a backflip on a bike, which had never been done before. So I think he connected all those dots. And it was kind of funny how he casted me. I got a call that this director Hal Needham wanted to talk to me about being in a movie. And of course, I was thrilled. And I got a few pages of the script, and I prepared to do some reading with him and run some lines and whatever. And I wasn't an actor, but every Olympic athlete, when they come out of the Olympics, they're fairly high profile and they're looking for things to do next. And so this came along. I was very excited. I prepared myself for this casting. And then he flew into town. I live in Oklahoma. And I really into old cars and race cars and sports cars and stuff. So was Hal. And we spent an afternoon driving around in one of my cool cars. And he said, "You can take me back to the airport." And I said, "Are we going to run some lines or anything?" He goes, "Oh, no, you're in my movie, man." Just because I was a car guy.
Now, Mike, when's the last time you watched the entire film?
3 days ago.
You really no idea you're going to be talking to these guys today, just because you wanted to watch it.
Yeah, it's. I'm in that Red Facebook group also that Bill is in, and he's nice enough to kind of you comment, and you're relatively active in that group, which is cool. And they do watch-alongs every once in a while where they'll put the movie up live, and I'll kind of catch it like that. But I also just got the 4K through Vinegar Syndrome, and I watched that immediately.
Yeah. Dude, you need some help.
I know, for real, dude. When I lock onto something, it's a true mental illness.
Listen, I'm goofing on you, but really, this movie has such a place in so many people's hearts, and I don't really know of another movie like that. There's Star Wars fans, they're Back to the Future fans, but the Rad fans are willing to go out and break bones and bleed on the pavement to try to recreate things that they've seen in the movie. And that has an impact on one when you can look down and point at scars that came directly from watching that movie. That'll stick with a person.
It's also one of those weird things where it's so tiny, and not tiny anymore because obviously it's expanding, but I remember in college before it came out on DVD, and it's still that little niche movie, and you meet people and you're like, "You've never seen Rad, right?" And then they do, and I have lifelong friends from just that moment.
That's great.
I think it's amazing and adds to this sort of, who knows how and why certain movies get that sort of cult following, but all of this, the fact that the movie was not ever released on a DVD and it was all bootlegged, and everything you find for sale on the internet is sold illegally. I mean, that added to the cachet. I mean, so everybody was trying to, who's got a DVD, and is this really a legit, distribution from the producers? And they're like, no, this is all bootleg stuff. And to me, in a way, that added to that cult cachet that sort of it allowed the movie to have legs a long time.
Now Talia Shire is back. Can you hear us and see us?
I finally got on. I'm sorry. I don't know. Hi guys. I've been.
Hey,
Talia.
This is hard for me. Yes. Bootleg is what I heard. Bootleg. Yes, it was. And I was pounding over here going, yes, it was. And it was a horrible time because we were trying so hard to protect, preserve. And I have to say, Robert Schwartzman, my son, Jack Schwartzman, son, because Jack Schwartzman really is the guy that put this together. And it's very moving to me that his son finally was able to get everything together. So it will no longer be bootlegged. Okay. Am I on for real?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You bet. You bet.
I've been walking the dog.
I'll sell you a VHS. These things are precious. I mean, look on the internet what these things go for. It's crazy, right?
Well,
have you guys seen, by the way, that the Blu-ray is already it's on eBay for $100 plus.
Mm-hmm.
Blu-ray, our Blu-ray.
Yeah, so
Your
resold.
Blu-ray,
People are buying it and they lucked out on the lottery, and then they're putting it up online because it's already sold out.
For me, I mean, we think of restoration, but for me, this is a kind of restoration of memory. which is a very interesting thing these days when you're quarantined, to recall, to remember, to go back in time and try to restore your memory. But I mean, so I'm very happy, by the way, to hear that. And thank you for having me on, however I got here. But oh boy. But I mean, I'm very excited about this, and that it's beautifully done, because it's important to see the efforts of everybody, what they've all achieved here. Hi, Bill. Hi, Bart.
Hey, good morning.
Now, do you all ever see each other anymore, or no? Do the three of you ever see each other under any situations?
Bill and I and his lovely wife, one time on a rainy night, I remember that, we all got together. Bart, I'm not worthy of seeing you. I haven't worked out in 5 years. So, I mean,
we saw each other many years ago, and I saw Bill a couple of summers ago, but no, we don't really connect much. So that's why this is also particularly thrilling.
Yes.
Hey, speaking of bootleg, Bart, are you making money off of the Bart Taylor the Man T-shirts? Because I see you could get. What you should be. You can.
It's hilarious because I see this stuff on the internet. I'm like, oh my God, look at all these sort of, let's call them entrepreneurs. Yeah. And so somebody's doing it, and my feeling is, it's not.
I'm doing
legal.
it, Bart. I'm the one.
I knew it. I should have known it, Talia. I mean, even Bob Dylan was accused of bootlegging his own stuff, right?
How long after you do a film? How long after does it feel like, all right, now the family is kind of breaking up? Because people don't stay in touch after movie sets like people assume they do. How long do you guys kind of stay in touch and talk, and it finally kind of fades away?
Usually about 34, 35 years, and then we cut it.
No, but there is an intensity. You know this. When you make a movie, there's a great intensity and love, for fellow actors, because we all understand what it is to hit that mark and be there and show up. And I have to say, I'm not... Bill was always on his bike. Bart is a great athlete. I was simply there. So it's wonderful to see them again. But there is an intensity. There is an instant sense of family on movies.
Did you, of course, I have to ask a Godfather question. Did you talk to Marlon Brando after The Godfather, or was that the beginning and end of your relationship?
My teacher was Stella Adler, who was Brando's real teacher, and she would come out every summer and stay with Marlon, and I would take classes with her, the master playwriting class with Jack. We would do the master class. So we would very much communicate. He was that great teacher. He really was a wonderful man, by the way. But certainly with the other cast members in The Godfathers, we all stayed in touch. And I think with Rad now, I think we will all stay in touch after I make more of Bart's T-shirts. But I'm trying to make a little money.
What's really been fun for me is that my son's 14 now, and the other day he saw something on Instagram about, Rad being re-released and on Altavod and the new 4K. And all of a sudden I became cool to my own kid.
Oh my God.
like the fact that he saw it, somewhere else on Instagram automatically gave some cred to his dad, who's otherwise just his dad, who's a total loser and doesn't know anything. So he was like, Dad, look at this. It's on Instagram. You're it. And I'm like, oh my God.
The Olympics
you know what?
do it.
I understand that. My children didn't know that I was an actor.
Wow.
Wow.
Because I'm a character actor. That's really the truth. So I would say, I remember I would try to read Robert late at night, Prometheus Bound, as his bedtime story. That's Robert Lowell play. And finally he realized maybe she's an actress. And so he said to me, actually, he screamed it out, can't somebody just get her a job? Because I'm so frustrated reading stories late at night. Anyway, but that's not what you're in. Obviously, it's early in the morning, so I'm feeling free.
Good, excellent.
No, but it's an interesting thing about one's children, isn't it, Bart? How they they don't always get you because we have to make rules, which was my role in this movie, by the way. Right, Bill?
Yes.
SATs, that was everything. And
I saw a great quote one time. From Steven Tyler. It says, your infant children do not realize that you're a rock god.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what about
no, your children will get you though at some point, Bart. I will tell you that.
What about that? What about when you reach that iconic level, right? Like Yo Adrian is this quote that even if you've never seen Rocky, you know that like your kids have to be aware of that character, right?
It's a character, and an actor, and that is what I do. But it wasn't in the house. Do you know what I mean? I was still, and Bart knows this, I was up early in the morning saying, get dressed. I have to make your lunch. Who's going to do carpool? Will Jack take, so it was very much, and I'm very proud of those roles, as I am proud of the mother in Rad, who is very much a good mother.
She's
didn't
a great
have somebody
mother.
else take your SATs. Anyway.
That's one of my favorite parts of the rewatch is having the TV in the laundry room and just seeing that old box. Yeah, when you're watching the qualifying race and you see crew and then you go down.
I remember I was, Hal and I talked about the mother because she was working hard, right? She was a simple woman. She was in the laundry room. For a second, I thought something else as a cathartic experience. But, she is hard. She's ironing. She's working. But what is so wonderful about this movie is that teenagers, Bart, please, because I know this, having raised 3 boys, they do have power. They do have power at 14 and 15. And that innocence is a power. And we need these young people, especially at this time, to respect what they have inside of them. I mean, I have enormous respect for 14-year-olds and 15-year-olds and 16-year-olds. Unbelievable respect for the intensity of their lives right now.
That's so well put.
Yes.
I think I heard Jerry Seinfeld said, when he sees a kid on a skateboard, he knows he's going to be okay because he's going to be able to take a hit, get back up, get on his feet, and go forth. So there's something really character building about these kids.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's brilliant, Bill. But it's true to know, and we know this and Bart, you're an athlete. Bill, you're still on that bike, but it takes enormous discipline and will. And not to just go off and say, well, I'm so disillusioned, I'm not going to get up this morning. Get up, try it, focus, and do what you have to do. But that's what this movie, Rad, had in it. And that's why it refused to die.
Well, did you ever have those things in your career where you were like, I don't know if I'm going to do this anymore? Or were you always sure the next thing would come?
Who are we talking to here?
Oh, you, Talia. Sorry, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. If I could... And I know for everybody right now, getting up is task by task, right? Getting up in the morning is task by task. You get up and you brush your teeth and you come to this lovely morning with my fellow actors that I'm enjoying. But I did have in my career way back then, because it's very hard to be an actor. It's extremely hard. You're typecast, your age typecast. It's grueling to be an actor. You know what? So I often had those moments. I was lucky because I enjoyed a profound relationship with the producer of this movie, Jack Schwartzman. And I saw what the other side of making movies was about. The financing, the distribution, everything else to make a movie live and exist. So I was able to have both sides of it. I hope that answers a little bit of your question.
Yeah, it does.
Oh, God.
I was, to me, I feel like when you play the mother in this movie, what instantly makes me go back to my mom are the scenes when you go, and he's such a nice young man. When you're like, when you're sitting there, watch the kid in the red, and he's such a nice young man. And I'm like, that's my mom.
That's
doing
your
that.
Mother.
You should listen.
Your mother's terrific. I hope you kiss her later in the day.
Listen to the radio show, and it's a great show, and that one host, he's such a nice young man. Were you that type
Can I ask a
of
question real
doting
quick,
mother?
Sam?
Yeah, ask a question, Mike.
So,
Sure,
because there
whatever,
is an emerging narrative that actually paints Bart as kind of the victim of the movie and says Crew is kind of a cheater. So where Crew cut off, he cut off the race in terms of the qualifying race, the backflip off of the, cutting off the course, all that stuff. So Bart, you're now kind of an empathizing figure with certain people.
When I first saw the script, I mean, I'm literally a few months out of the Olympics, right? Mm-hmm. So I remember saying to Hal Needham, I said, Hal, I'm like an Olympic star. I can't be the bad guy. And he said, well, in the movie, you'll have a chance to redeem yourself. And I'm like, okay, as long as that's in there, because I don't think I can play the bad guy. And so it's kind of funny how it has continued to sort of resonate that, luckily, because of that scene where I showed that I had a heart and that I was willing to give a fair chance to a guy who deserved it, to me, that was one of the most redeeming parts of the entire film. And but literally to this day on Facebook, I mean, I'll get a quote every once in a while from somebody on my page like, dude, you stopped under the bridge. What were you thinking? So anything that, adds to the conspiracy theory about, if they want to turn me into the, underappreciated, I'll go with that. But the reality is that, Bill got the girl.
Yeah. And then she ended up being the cheater.
But you do have enormous respect in that moment, which is really exciting. That you are able to acknowledge somebody who has a great skill. That's a wonderful moment in the piece, Bart.
Thank you.
Speaking of Lori Loughlin, something that when you watch a movie like this in 4K, all the details are going to stand out and everything. When you guys were on set, did you have any difficulty telling the difference between Lori and her stunt double? Because, I mean, I thought it's just...
Oh, Bill, take it.
It was pretty obvious. I mean,
yeah.
Martin's hips were a little bigger than Lori, so he would be busting out of the jeans. And the wig, the wigs should have gotten their own credits in this movie because they're so prominent. And I don't know, the scene where they jump into the river, they take that real high jump and they land in the river. The very last frame of that shot, you can see the wig float on top of the water. So these are the things that 4K is going to really highlight. You're going to watch this today and love it.
Did you ride the dumpster up on the garbage truck? Because for me, I feel like the scene in the opening credits when Crew rides the dumpster up on the garbage truck and then jumps off, for me, that's the moment where I'm like, I'm locked in. This is my movie. Did you, because I mean, the shot is of your face. Did you actually get to ride the dumpster up?
Yeah, there was zero CGI in this movie. So if you see my face on my body, it's actually me. But not unlike Iron Man, as soon as I put on that helmet, all of a sudden, I'm the best rider in the world. Somebody said, how could he win Hell Track if he couldn't bunny hop a curb? And I find that very offensive.
I guess that is a great point.
Mike, do you have a favorite moment in the movie?
Do I what?
Have a favorite moment? Is it a part of the movie that you go, this is the part that is my favorite part?
Well, just to further prove my psychosis, one of my buddies at my wedding actually read a passage from Thunder in Your Heart instead of like Corinthians or whatever. So honestly, the qualifying race still to this day makes me get up and shadow box. Like I get so fired up just watching that entire sequence. It's fantastic.
You're still married.
I am still married. Yeah, this poor woman has known me since I was 10 years old. So the obsession was already set in with Rad, and it's just a ride she has gone on for 25 years. So
and Ty, I don't know if you missed it, but his little boy is named Crew.
That's right. Yeah.
I came in late. Oh.
She's like, wow, I can't believe you legally did that to somebody.
I missed the soap. Okay. That's wonderful. That is
to me, one of the coolest things about the film is is Hell Track, and that was really, a design by Hal Needham. And to me, that what adds a lot of legitimacy and credibility to the film is that Hal realized that this track has to be completely outrageous. Everything in the film has to be sort of larger than life. And I mean, Bill, when the pro riders got out there and they saw that drop in, they were like, we're not going.
Yeah, one of them quit.
These are right. And
Wow.
these are the best riders in the world. And they all climbed up there and they're like, no way. I mean, they're getting ready to roll film on this scene. And the best riders in the world are like, we're not going down. I mean, that's how intense that, wall was in the drop in at Hell Track. Right? I mean, Bill, tell them the story about how they finally got enough guts up to sort of, go down the wall.
Well, it's shocking to me that there was no proof of concept. They just built that wall expecting the riders to go down it. And literally one of them showed up on set and said, I quit, got in his van and drove back to America. So it took a young 15-year-old kid, Beetle Rosecrans, who is more scared of his dad and what he would do to him on the ride home if he didn't go down the wall. So he put a ladder on the side of the wall and just dropped in from halfway and then 3/4 and then took it all the way down. And all the other riders who were like 5 years older than this kid said, well, if the pipsqueak did it, now we have to do it. And so that's kind of how it all came about. And
How
it's
high
still
was the
very
wall?
sketchy. By the time they're at the end of that transition, you're about to wipe out. It's very sketchy, and these guys made it look easy. It is not easy.
No, it's not. It looked like it was coming off of a building. And Bill, Hal was nervous too, even though he was very encouraging. He was nervous too.
Oh, it was twice as scary looking down as it was looking up at the thing. So you're looking down on the thing, and yeah, there was just it looked physically impossible. So these guys they saved the film, and certainly the backflip and the action work. I mean, it just all came together.
How many of the were any of the spills during the final race non-intentional? Because one of them coming off the kicks bowl where the guy hits his front wheel and then goes face first, that looks legit.
Chris Phoenix, yeah, that was super legit. And Eddie taking the pedal to the head during qualifying, he got a concussion. He was knocked out right there. We had to stop and awake Eddie again. So there's certain parts in the film, like when I over-rotate, that was not planned. And Hal's brilliance would be taking these accidents and then putting them in the movie. And that's what gives it that immediacy.
It's like the backflip. I mean, that over-rotation on the backflip when it was was it Jose Inez was the stunt guy on that? Yeah. I mean, I was out there that day. It was so high and so over-rotated. And as soon as he spanked hard on his back, I mean, immediately Hal's like, that's in the film. Because it wasn't planned. He was going to train the backflip. He just completely over-rotated, and that just added to the credibility of the movie. That was intense, and he hit hard, right, Bill?
Yes, he did. And like you said, Hal just said, well, that's a keeper. And so he put in the dialogue about you over-rotated, and now that's one of the more iconic parts of the movie.
This wall you guys are talking, how high was the wall? Do you remember the how high?
I think it's about 25 feet, I believe.
Oh, wow.
Was it 25 feet? I mean, it looked like the edge of a building. It felt more than 25 feet. Was that
about 25 feet? But it was the transition. It was nearly that straight down.
Right.
That really was the near killer.
Tali, where does this movie rank on your list of movies that you like to talk about that you did? Because I mean, you've been in so many of these iconic movies that have these insane fan bases. Where does this one rank?
Well, it has great meaning for me because it was something that I was doing with my husband in a period of time where Jack wanted to make movies that showed young people could be empowered, and do things. And this was one of those movies. I mean, after all, Crew is a kid, but he goes up against great corruption. And so in terms of ranking, it's an interesting thing. I know you get this all the time, Bill, but I was in New Mexico and someone came up to me and he went, And I thought he was going to go, "Oh, yo, Adrian," and he didn't. He said, "Oh, you were in Rad, my favorite." That meant a great deal to me because it is a very pure movie.
That's a nice thing to hear. It's better than someone walking up going, "Go on, be a murderer, just like your father."
Well, yes, that was number.
Talia, there's
great meaning. It does.
There's a singing scene that you've been a part of that Jim and I have talked about quite a few times in the Rocky series. Do you remember, Jim? Which Rocky was it, Jim?
It was Rocky. I want to say Rocky 3.
I think so too.
It was Rocky 3, and you and Sylvester Stallone are laying in the bed, and it's 2 or 3 where he's teaching you to sing.
Oh, one of those moments.
Dee dee do do.
That was their marriage, right?
Did you make
something like that, right? I don't remember.
Yes,
I don't remember it exactly.
I vaguely remember it. He went do 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 do, and you went do 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 do, and you said do.
Oh dear me. That's like a 5-foot wall. Okay.
It really is one of our favorite things.
It's one of my favorite moments in the film.
It.
Yeah, it's such a. I always wanted to ask you if you did that on purpose or if it was just a thing that kind of came out and they kind of kept it in.
Sylvester did that, and I followed his lead, as I often did in those movies, because he's rather extraordinary. But that was like an odd little moment, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was one of those things that seemed natural.
I haven't seen it in a while, so you're bringing it back to me at this moment. But as I recall, it was something that sort of occurred in the moment.
Yeah. I love those little moments in movies, though. I mean, to me, that's like ass slide. Like, it's these little like lines, little bits that like a writer or a director or somebody goes like, "I want this in," and you're like, that's just this person's artistic thing. Like, he just wants this.
Yeah, but I think ass sliding is the most unbelievable idea in the. I mean, that's actually. Wasn't that? I mean, that's really kind of a great teenage moment, isn't it?
Absolutely. Now, did you shoot that more than once? Because I mean, I love that. Like, they go down the ass slide, and then we get to see it again. Like, it goes down once in regular motion, and then we get to go again and see the same slide in slow motion. Did you shoot it more than once, or were they just like, "Hey, let's"?
Well, if you notice, the second time we go down the ass slide, we're completely dry. So we actually only shot it once from 2 different angles. And of course, it was frozen snow, so unbelievably cold. So what they did is they had one of my stunt doubles, my good friend Martin Aparicio, go down the slide first. And Hal took him aside and said, "Listen, when you come out of the water, be smiling, make it look fun so you don't scare the crap out of the actors." And so he did. He pops out like it's the greatest thing he ever did. And we're like, "Oh, it must be easy." So they put us in wetsuits that had zero effect. And it was just it looks romantic. It was anything but. It was ungodly cold. And you see me come out of the water. It's because certain parts of me had just frozen, fell off into the water.
Because it's Calgary. You forget that Calgary had strange weather. It could be beautiful one day and absolutely freezing the next. So
I think a lot of people don't realize that the day that we got ready to shoot the race scenes, it had rained and slightly like slushy snow. So the whole hell track was covered with snow. So typical Hal Needham, he brings in a couple of helicopters and flies them over the track to dry it off before they shot the scenes, because they had 1 day to get that done, or 2 maybe max, right, Bill? And so it was covered with snow. So he says, "Well, we'll get rid of that snow," and he brings in a helicopter and blows it away.
Wait, so they built that whole thing for only 1 or 2 days of shooting, and then did they tear it down?
Yeah.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
wild. And
I
how much
totally
money
get that.
did Kix pay to be a part of that? Because there's that huge scene in the abandoned house that you children somehow own outside of the construction yard. And
Well,
then you guys are
again, this is part of Hal's genius. Is he was so good at getting sponsorships. He learned that craft on his race car movies, the Stoker Ace and Smokey Bandit movies. He would just have these entire race teams show up with all their riders and all their gear, and he was able to get 7-Eleven and Chief Auto Parts and all these enormous sponsors to just show up with everything they had. And while product placement kind of gets a bad rap, it adds so much to the value of a movie and what they can actually put on screen. And so that's Hal Needham. There was none of that before him. He also he brought so much to the industry that people don't realize, that are like the blooper reel. Hal was the first one to put a blooper reel in his movie in the Smokey and the Bandit or the Cannonball movies, and now it's just a part of every movie. Even animated movies put in the blooper reel at the end of the movie as a goof, and that you can direct that, you can line that back to Hal Needham.
It was also brilliant that he got Mongoose to agree to be a part of the bad guys, because not many companies now would agree to be like, to show it in, a relatively negative light, but he got them to agree, and I'm assuming it like blew up their business, right?
Obviously it did. And the head of Mongoose, I can't remember his name, was all in and saw the value of being portrayed in any light in a Hollywood movie. And so he was all in. I think there's that famous story of Steven Spielberg going to M&M's going, we want to use this in E.T. Yeah. And they're like, no, it's a little too weird for us. And they use Reese's Pieces, and the rest is history. So these things that kind of might have a sketchy image.
Product placement was a big part of how you brought in some of the income to make the movie.
That's right.
I mean, it was part of if you could put that in the back of but that was happening in movies during that period of time. Product placement, you had somebody on your production team that just made those phone calls to try to get product placement.
Was that the 80s that started? Superman was the first time I remember seeing that, when he was getting thrown through like a Marlboro truck. Like, was that's kind of started in the 80s, right? Or was that something they did in the 70s? I just didn't notice.
It was in the 70s, or you had to be very careful that the products you had didn't have any name on it. And then pretty soon people wanted to have the names on something. So it was a very interesting time where you had somebody in your production team looking for product placement.
What was it that stopped this movie from getting a proper release? Why was this the movie that never ended up on DVD? Like why did it take 20 years or more to
sometimes things do, and sometimes there is death. Jack died, so it became very complex. And that's really the man who Jack Schwartzman really put these movies together and tried to protect them. And so I did the same, but honest to God, I have to tell you, it is not an easy thing, because there are so many factors. But there is something kind of wonderful, and Robert said this, in a strange way, it's wonderful. It's as if the gods have protected this movie, that this moment in time, it will be allowed to exist, in the best way. Not some kind of blurry, goofy thing, but the sound is perfect, that the movie looks terrific, that the actors really are magnificent, you guys. So, we have to just say that sometimes that happens. And maybe it's part of what happens when somebody passes away.
Yeah. Well, look, guys, this has been incredible. I know I can speak, Mike. I mean, is there anything you want to say to your
I've
heroes?
had a good week already, and this is truly the icing on the cake. I can't believe it. You guys are.
Can I
fantastic.
say something? Can I say something?
Yeah, of course.
I listen. I was a window washer in Texas. Last thing I remember, and to now be on a call with Talia Shire and Bart Connor. Listen, this is big for me. And I wanted to thank you guys and everybody involved, because this is a very humbling experience. At no point do I go, oh, look at me, finally I'm getting my due. It's like how lucky I am to meet fans like you, to be on calls like this with my fellow cast members. It makes my life. So thank you very much.
Oh,
Awesome.
gee,
That's lovely.
No.
Awesome. Well, everybody,
I have one more question for Talia, if I can. Can I ask you? It's not even really a question. You're one of the few people who I've ever talked to who worked with John Cazale. What type of guy was he off camera? Which is just a basic fan question.
Generous. He would make you a wonderful man, and a generous actor. He wanted, your partner when you act is very, very critical. He is yourself. That's what Stella Adler once said. And John Cazale was just the most wonderful, wonderful man. You couldn't be bad in a scene with John. You couldn't be.
Oh, yes, I could be.
That's the beauty of what we do here 25 years later, 35 years later. I have to tell you, Artaud said this about actors. An actor is an athlete of the heart. Sorry, Bart, but it's true. We really do all get gold medals because that's what we do. We're athletes of the heart. And so I think that was John, and that is my fellow actors here this morning. And whether it's 2 minutes ago or 30 years later, we are all here to say we're athletes of the heart.
Incredible. Well, look, hopefully, yeah, there's a finally an official release of Rad. It's a very exciting thing. I know it's supposed to be coming out digitally too. Is that right?
Yeah, it's a big deal. It's a big deal.
Excellent.
I wish Robert Schwartzman has more of the information. It's important that he runs with this, but yes, please come and watch it.
Yeah, it's on Altavod, and then it's available for pre-order on iTunes.
Thank you, Bill.
Awesome.
Thank you guys
So
very
exciting.
much.
So exciting. Thank you all. Yeah. It's been awesome.
Thank you. And I think, we haven't talked enough about how much Robert did for this film. So let's not forget Robert did just a superb job at remastering this. The sound is unbelievable. The pictures are amazing. And so I know you must be very proud that this project was in the hands of your son, Talia.
Thank you, Bart. I have 1 second to say this, but it's a strangely spiritual moment because Robert was only 4 when this movie was made, and we lost Jack many years ago. So the son rediscovering the father is a big deal.
Yeah,
big
it's awesome.
And Mike, do you want to say anything to close it out because you're the biggest fan of this film? Do you want to say anything to the our three guests?
Thank you, guys. You truly you shaped my childhood. What a surreal experience this has been, and you guys are fantastic. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Just make sure your second child is named Bart.
Done.
All right, Mike, stick around. Thank you, guys. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. Thank you.
Thanks.
Show, your doctor show, and even that show you won't admit to watching. Dish's Hopper holds a ridiculous amount of TV, and that's some seriously good news. Whatever your passion, record up to 2,000 hours. Just another reason Dish is ranked number 1 in customer satisfaction by J.D. Power. Dish tuned into you. Regarding recording hours vary. 2,000 hours based on SD programming for J.D. Power 2019 award information. Visit jdpower.com/awards to learn more. Dial 1-844-CALL-DISH. Visit dish.com or find a local retailer near you.
This is Seth Rudetsky.
And this is James Wesley. You can hear our show, Stars in the House, weekdays.
Hear our conversations with some of the biggest stars, like Tina Fey,
Lin-Manuel Miranda,
and Lord Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Reunions with some of the most memorable TV casts.
All while raising money to benefit the Actors Fund, which helps anyone who works in the arts across the country.
Hear our show, Stars in the House, weekdays at 4 p.m. Eastern on SiriusXM Stars Channel 109.
Adam and Eve is not giving you 10% off and not 20% off or even 40%. Your discount is even bigger. AdamandEve.com is giving you a whopping 50% off. But why stop there? In addition to 50% off, you also get 10 free gifts. That includes a racy item for him, a sensuous toy for her, and something we know you'll both enjoy. Ooh. And 6 extra special bonus items that are sure to rev your engine, pique your curiosity, and even blow you away. And best of all, free shipping. Always delivered in discreet packaging. So rethink your bedroom routine. Go to adamandeve.com and enter the station's exclusive code at checkout, DOLL, and get, you know the discount, 50% off almost any item and 10 tantalizing free gifts. That's DOLL, DOLL, DOLL.
Attention business owners, listen carefully to this important message. Are you tired of struggling with monthly bookkeeping or always being behind? Maybe you're fed up with paying your CPA ridiculously high hourly rates for subpar services. At Finance Pal, we know your pain. We're small business owners who understand your tax and accounting needs. At Finance Pal, we take over your books and design a program custom tailored to fit your needs. Whether it's bookkeeping, payroll, bill pay, inventory tracking, or taxes, we have you covered. We handle some or all of these services for one flat, affordable, low monthly fee. Stop worrying about your books and drowning in paperwork. Let us worry while you focus on growing your business. The setup is easy, and we give you the tools and technology to make your monthly finances streamlined and organized. Call now at 800-453-0694 for a free business assessment. That's 800-453-0694. 800-453-0694. Finance Pal, the only friend your business needs.
This is an urgent message for all Americans who owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt during the current coronavirus pandemic. If you've fallen past due or are struggling to make minimum payments, you may qualify for National Debt Relief's Debt Reset Program to become debt-free in 24 to 48 months, paying only a fraction of what is owed. To qualify, you must have at least $10,000 or more in credit card debt, personal loans, medical bills, or collection accounts. National Debt Relief has helped clients resolve more than $3 billion of debt. Enroll now with no upfront costs, and for a limited time, National Debt Relief is offering a deferred payment plan. If you're facing financial hardship following the pandemic, are struggling to make minimum payments, or considering bankruptcy, there is no risk to call and speak with a certified debt specialist to see if you qualify for the Debt Reset Program to become debt-free in 24 to 48 months. Call 800-657-0599. That's 800-657-0599. 800-657-0599.
Jim Norton and Sam Roberts are live and social distancing.
Because I saw you laughing like that, and I was like, and I knew Travis had sent you a private message because I didn't get it. I had no idea what it said or anything, but I said I'll put money on the fact that Travis got him thinking about that Rocky scene, and now he's thinking about it. So when I brought it up, I had no idea that's what you were laughing at. I was just like, I bet that's what it said. I bet that's what it was.
Do is what he sent me, and then he wrote "Stop laughing" 5 minutes later. But I was really going to. She was great too. They were all really great. But it's like when someone, and especially someone who's as respected as her, I was as happy she was comfortable talking as she was. Sometimes they clam up a little. She was great.
Mm. Well, what an absolute treat! You two are some great people. All of you, everybody here. What an absolute treat.
This was more their doing because I didn't know about your attachment to Rad. And if it was up to me, it would have just been me and Talia talking, and she would have been bored and answering Brando questions, and so she hung up on me.
Yeah, I actually I forbode the guys from advertising that the cast of Rad was going to be on the show at all. Even last night when I tweet, like, I don't know if you saw my Instagram, but I sent out a thing that said I just watched this movie. But the reason that I watched the movie yesterday was because I knew they were coming on. But I wasn't going to say anything, and I told the guys they couldn't say anything because I didn't want anybody tipping you off. I wanted you to find out.
Well, and like, because you watched the movie is why I put the background up. I was like, oh, Sam watched it last night. It's a fun little thing. We'll get off to a nice little conversation, and then that's it. But, oh, man, what a treat.
Yeah, you got to talk to all of them. That's nice. Was there anybody missing from that? Like, is there another big person in the movie who wasn't a part of that?
Lori Loughlin's doing some time.
Oh, Lori. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Lori couldn't be a part of it, unfortunately. It really is, Jim. You will laugh if you watch the movie, which I guess you'll just have to wait until, like, I mean, they said you can pre-order it on iTunes. I don't know when it's actually available.
It's not on YouTube?
No, or it's not on YouTube. It's on Facebook somewhere, but there's like no digital copies. They've done a good job of scrubbing it, but it comes out on the 24th on demand.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be on YouTube because they're trying to sell, they're trying to move this thing, you know?
Yeah.
But when you watch, I mean, man, that's what really stuck out last night. When you watch the scenes, and whether it's the dancing scene, any bike riding scene, where they switch, all of a sudden, all the shots of Lori Loughlin are from behind. And it's so obviously just a dude in a bad wig. Like, you're like, what is this? But it's great. It's perfect.
Fantastic.
It's perfect. Well, Mike, you're also in your own movie I wanted to alert people to, right? I saw that.
Yeah, I'm in my own rad.
On Amazon Prime, maybe if there are any kids out there, maybe they could watch Timing, and it could be their rad. And, 30 years from now, they could be like, I named my kid Mike Cannon. Like,
oh, man, what a brutal thing that would be. But, yeah, that's it. It's their rad for stand-up.
Yeah, yeah.
When you said you shaped my childhood,
I couldn't help but be earnest, and I was watching Jim, just the disgust pouring over his face.
All I wanted to say, I wish you would say that to Honest Tool, but I couldn't say that because nobody would recognize who he is. But
I would have gotten it.
Of course you would.
I would have gotten it.
Yeah. But it was nice. Yeah. It was a nice moment.
I loved it even from the beginning when you were like, is there anything that you want to say to these guys, Mike? And Mike was just like, thank you. Yeah. And it wasn't, it was like, that's why I laughed out loud. I was like, oh my God. Like it was like a real, we are so guarded in our little community. We are so guarded with the things that really mean something to us.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just glad, like I felt like I'm watching Mike and I'm like, this must be, like I got to talk to the Undertaker. Quarantine's been the best. I hope we have Corona forever. I got to talk to the Undertaker, and for me, I'm like, what could possibly be better? I saw that same gleam in the eye of Mike Cannon as he talked to the cast of Rad.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty rare that you get to meet people that you've looked up to your entire life, right? Like that. I think the cast of Rad would be akin to me also meeting Michael Jordan. Like it would be that level of influence and that much of how much I watched each of them. It's probably the same exact level. It was wild.
Jim, was it weird for you to see that neither Mike nor myself, I mean, I tried to do it a little bit just because I was trying to be a professional, but really neither one of us cared about anything Talia Shire had done aside from Rad. Like she's done these, like we didn't care about Rocky or The Godfather.
Yeah, no, I understood that, but I couldn't talk to Connie from The Godfather, and I just can't do it. I can't not ask about John Cazale. Or Casale is his name. But yeah, no, I understood that. And she also wanted to promote this project. So it was like one of those things where that was her preference as well. But I had to, anyone who's talked to Brando or him, I have to ask. Because you don't meet that many people she was in The Godfather, all three of them, and she was in like 6 Rocky. Like, she's been in some amazingly big fucking films. I mean, she's incredible.
I guess I didn't realize, though, how much this movie meant to her from a familial perspective.
Right.
Like this, like she actually, I figured this was just, she did the iconic movies and then I didn't even realize that her husband was attached to it. Like that she just ended up doing, I thought she was just in Rad. And I was like, oh, that's so funny that she was in these big movies and then also Rad. But I mean, this movie obviously means a great deal to her and her son being involved in everything. I didn't know all that.
I definitely didn't either. I mean, that was cool to see. She seems like a cool lady too. Like she's great. She's totally with it. Pretty connected, like super connected, funny. That was awesome.
Yeah. Well, Mike Cannon, people can, if they want to get out of the house this weekend, they can get their asses to Connecticut, and they can
no meet and greet, baby. I'm not pulling a full Schaub.
There you go.
Did you do a meet and greet?
Oh my God, Schaub and Callan were like licking their fans' inner mouths. It's like, what the fuck were you thinking?
Yeah, Schaub and Callan just kind of found out this week that Corona is real. They were pretty sure that it was not real going into this, but no, they found out it's very much real.
Yeah, we're all probably gonna catch it.
Yep.
Well, maybe Mike will get it this weekend. Hey, if you got Corona, go give it to Mike Cannon this weekend. Up there in Connecticut, huh?
Yes. And I want to promote Sunday night. Watch TBS to see Chip. You may see a second video of Chip Chipperson. It's possible. I know he's been very angry on social media. I imagine there'll be another angry video going up today. And the Chip Patreon is doing very well. I've been putting up content and doing Zoom chats. It's been really fucking fun. But yeah, watch TBS on Sunday night. I'm sure I'll be promoting it as the week goes on.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Excellent. You can hit up the Not Sam YouTube channel and for all the stuff that I'm doing besides this. Thank you, Mike Cannon.
Thank you guys.
And,
seriously.
Yeah, for sure. Anytime. We'll see you guys on Monday.
Yes. Have a good weekend.
You too.
It's the Social Distancing